from the Liberty University studio in Memphis, Tennessee, it's America's favorite gun-toting, Bible-clanging, deplorable American.
That's us. That's right. I love this American ride.
Todd Starnes.
Oh, yeah.
Here we are, ready to rock and roll. It is a Monday. Great to have you with us for the Todd Starnes radio program. Todd Starnes is out today, though. He is still in the Memphis area, still in his home area, but he is not behind the microphone. We are moving the Liberty University studios out here to Wichita, Kansas. What's up? My name's Andy Hooser, filling in for the great Todd Starnes on the Todd Starnes radio program today. Todd is busy doing another cool thing today. President Donald Trump making his way out to Memphis, Tennessee, doing a task force roundtable, as you know, and as Todd has been talking about quite a bit on the program. Actually, a task force of ICE agents, of law enforcement, trying to deal with the crime going on in that region. So guess what? He's doing the roundtable, and Todd is there and actually meeting with the big guy himself today. And by big guy, I mean like the head honcho, President Donald Trump himself. So we may get an update from Tom as the show goes on, because there's plenty to talk about. But welcome into it. It is the Todd Starnes radio program. So great to have you along for the ride today. 901-260-5926. There is plenty to talk about today with the ongoing filibuster, SAVE Act, DHS funding, and a heck of a lot more. Plus, there's some hearings today. The Supreme Court hearing on mail-in ballots in the nation. We have updates with Iran and more, but I don't want to waste time because we have our first guest right out of the gate today as we go to the Patriot Mobile Newsmaker hotline. Really happy to have on. He is my senator here from the great state of Kansas, and an update of what the heck's going on in D.C., but really happy to have on here U.S. Senator Roger Marshall. Senator, how are you, my friend?
Andy, it's great to be with you, and you're right. We have a lot on our plate and a lot to talk about today. Where do you want to start?
Oh, I tell you what, man, it has been wild. I have to say, I've been following as much as I can with the filibuster on the Senate floor, and every time I turn the feed on, I see you there. You are rocking it on that Senate floor, calling out the Democrats for the lack of this passage of the SAVE Act right now. We're a week into it now, because I believe you guys started it right around this time last week. What's the latest? Are we any closer to actually seeing the vote happen on this thing and getting it through?
Andy, I'm afraid not. We even gave the Democrats an opportunity to vote just on a standalone voter ID, and they voted that down. 70% of Democrats, 80% of Americans think it's reasonable to have a real ID when you go to vote. We believe in the sanctity of our elections. We trust, but we verify, right? When you and I get on an airplane, everyone recognizes Andy Hooser, everyone recognizes Roger Marshall, but we have to verify it, right? Why is that unreasonable when we go vote to ask that same type of trust but verify? But we're making no progress. The Democrat senators don't believe in voter ID.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate. Why would be the big issue? They always say, and I've been hearing them on the Senate floor as well, saying that it's a non-issue, that no one illegally is voting. No one's voting without some type of ID. There's no illegal aliens or undocumented people that are voting in the elections. It's a non-issue. Senator, if it were a non-issue, then this wouldn't be something that we have to do a filibuster for an entire week. I would think that if it's a non-issue, you just pass it, you blow it off, and then be like, oh, you know what? It's not a big issue anyway, so why the heck do we need to shut everything down for it? It's kind of a telling sign for Democrats, isn't it?
Exactly. I'd make 2 points. Number one is no American wants their vote canceled by an illegal vote. That we value our vote so much, it just makes me want to cry to think that my vote could be canceled. You know, you work all day, you get off work, and instead of going home, you stop, you stand in line for 2 hours, and you vote. So the thought of your vote being canceled, whether it's 1 or 100 or 1,000 of them, we shouldn't let that happen. Secondly, at least 60% of Americans have some concern about election integrity, one way or the other. And we saw this. We saw it for 2 reasons. Number one is when they opened up non-solicited ballots. When you're sending out more ballots than there are people in your county, something is wrong. These people have moved, they've died, they've never been taken off the roll, but they're getting a non-solicited ballot. So what's happening with those? And the other backdrop, whether we're talking about DHS funding or this, is that we have 50 million non-citizens in this country now. We have 50 million people that are not citizens of this country living here. 1 out of 6, 1 out of 7 people. 4 states are actively registering those people to vote. And that's the ultimate goal here, is they want these non-citizens on their voter roll. They think that that's the future of the Democrat Party. And that's where, I kind of tie DHS and the SAVAC together up here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It really shows the priority. And it's been a common denominator when President Trump asked everybody to stand during the State of the Union and said, if you represent Americans over illegal aliens, they refuse to stand. They're shutting down the government for the SAVE Act. They're shutting down the government for DHS funding and ICE reforms. I mean, we can show exactly what their priorities are. So, Senator, here's the next question. What is the next step with this filibuster? How long will it go? And John Kennedy actually proposed an idea of separating DHS funding from ICE, which is what Democrats have been proposing to do, and then actually passing ICE funding without the supermajority that you need and doing it as a simple vote in a different way. Is that possible, and do you think that's the next step?
So I think certainly for the DHS funding, it is. And that would be a reconciliation process that only requires 50 votes. This is how we did the working family tax cuts bill. So we would do the same thing. Senator Kennedy are on the budget committee. We're supposed to meet today. Senator Lindsey Graham is the chairperson of that particular committee. We discussed it all weekend, and now we need to make it happen. Look, Congress needs to go down two roads at the same time, sometimes three roads. And if the Democrats aren't going to come and negotiate, then we need to move forward. I want to make a real strong point here, Andy, is that the Democrats have already stopped negotiating. It took them 30 days. They sat on DHS funding for 30 days, no funding, before they agreed to sit down face-to-face with Republicans on the Appropriations Committee. That's where this would be negotiated. They had two talks, and then they called off the rest of them. It took them 18 days to respond to President Trump's offer as well. Look, the Democrats want this, that they're putting their political priorities ahead of the safety of American citizens. Every day they delay funding for DHS.
Yeah, amen to that. It is unfortunate, but again, their political stance going into midterms, I don't know if it's going to bode well for them for sure. We're talking with U.S. Senator Roger Marshall, state of Kansas, my senator here in the state of Kansas. Kind of on this topic, we have the DHS funding that is still lingering right now because of ICE particularly, and we saw the announcement over the weekend from President Trump of sending ICE agents to become TSA workers at airports from the long lines, some of the first ones showing up at the airport in Georgia and in Atlanta, that making the news today. I've seen some of the video. Is that some of the political leverage? Does this take leverage away from Democrats when what they're trying to reform, we're just going to send them out to become TSA agents?
Well, Andy, I don't know how this is going to work out. I think it sounds pretty simple, but I appreciate the ICE agents being there. I do think they're going to make the airport safer. Maybe it slows down some of the trafficking coming through there as human trafficking, that type of thing as well. I think this is it's a much more complicated puzzle. I don't think it's going to solve the problem. And just to say a big thank you to all those TSA agents out there. They're patriots. These are the modern day patriots. Remember our founding fathers, they weren't getting paid either. The military, and the ones that did, it was people like you and me reaching into our pockets and paying those soldiers as well in so many cases. So I feel horrible about the situation. But I wake up every morning, Andy, like you do, and say, is my family safe today? Are Kansans safe today? Are Americans safe today? And I think that this is such a big issue that we have to keep DHS together. Remember, DHS was started in the ashes of 9/11. We took 22 agencies and combined them, working together. If these agencies have been cooperating with each other, sharing information, maybe 9/11 doesn't happen. Everyone had a piece of the puzzle, but no one put the puzzle together. DHS, we need to fund the whole thing. We need to keep them working together.
Well, we have some serious concerns. We've already had 3 or 4 different terrorist attacks on American soil already with these quote-unquote sleeper cells, independent agents, whoever they are, which is a concern. So let's go there for a moment, Senator. I know you're short on time, but let's talk about Iran. The news that we saw yesterday throughout the weekend, President Trump saying that we're halting any type of bombing in Iran for 5 days with, quote, negotiations and conversations happening right now. Have we met our goal? We looked at a 4 to 6 week timeline. We're about 4 weeks into it now. Have we met the goals that we were looking at, and what could potentially be the future of this negotiation with Iran look like?
Yeah, and first of all, as a former officer in the military myself, I want to stop and just mourn the loss of 13 soldiers. And there's a dozen or more that are seriously injured. And I pray for Godspeed for our troops that are there, and I'm grateful for their efforts. To answer your question, I think we're 90% there. President Trump laid out very clearly 4 goals. Don't let the national media fool you. In writing, he said 4 goals. We want to destroy Iran's missiles, their nukes, their navy, and destroy their ability to fund, arm, and train terrorists. So on the first three, I think we're 90% there. I think on the ability to fund and arm terrorists, I'm afraid we got some work to do, and that'll be the hard judgment call as well. This thing is fluid; it's day to day. Remember who we're dealing with here, and that's why it makes it so hard. Is that we're dealing with irrational, bloodthirsty theocracy, religious fanatics, if you will. And there's nothing rational in their thought process, so it's really hard for us from Western culture to grasp what that is like right now. But I'm just supporting the troops, and I appreciate everyone, praying for the troops and just praying that they'll be protected, and then we'll be successful as well. So generations of Americans will be protected from future terrorist attacks from this horrible, horrible theocracy.
Yeah, exactly. I want to see a different regime in there, and I don't want this to go on for long. I don't want this to go on forever. We're not about long-term conflict, and that's why so many people supported President Trump, was because he wasn't about long-term conflict, military-industrial complex, that sort of thing. But if we're going to do it, I don't want the same regime that continues to lie to us day in and day out to continue to be in there. I think that's kind of counterintuitive of what we've been trying to do. At the same time, we've seen gas prices this morning, at least on a Monday, begin to go back down. The Strait of Hormuz actually opening up again. I know you've proposed an idea for the agricultural side when it comes to fertilizer and the Fertilizer Act right now, trying to help out farmers because of how this has been impacting that sector of our industry here in the United States. I know it's early right now and there's a lot of uncertainty, but are we more optimistic we could see a balancing out of some of these oil prices and get things back on track agriculturally?
We will, Andy. I mean, history has played out just live for us right now. This will seem like a hiccup a couple of years from now. But regardless, we are focused on those input costs for farmers. Look, we saw natural gas, back up. We saw fertilizer prices go up 50% under Joe Biden. So we've started at this high price already. Fertilizer, the nitrogen fertilizer, is made from natural gas. So whenever there's a conflict in the Middle East, that this is a worldwide commodity, just like oil. So if oil goes up, then this commodity goes up. The good news is here in America is that natural gas, LNGs, only went up about 5% versus, for instance, in Europe, it's went up 50%. So we have the capacity to make more of it. It's what I'm trying to say. And what our bill does right now, the fertilizers that like many industries in America, the fertilizer industry, you have 3 or 4 dominant companies controlling 90% of the industry. So we're trying to spur competition. And by the way, our working family tax cuts bill that does a lot of that already, allowing people to write off even the physical plant part over a year's time as opposed to over 30 years' time. But we're going to try to promote new entries into that market. Something called a biostimulant is something that we would like to promote. So rather than using nitrogen, there's natural like fungus and bacteria that help the roots grab water and grab the natural fertilizers out of the soil. So it's one little piece of the puzzle, but like you, we're hoping a very quick and successful end to the war in Iran.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. And I love the fact you guys are focusing on this. And I know it's another conversation that we need more time for at a later time. But the diversity in the ag sector, especially the meat processing plants, the fertilizer, the pesticide makers, I mean, it's so centralized with just a handful of people, and we import it from so many people. It's nice to see some competition come back and to have this stuff start being made in the grand old US of A again. Last question for you, Senator, and I appreciate your time. Markwayne Mullen's confirmation hearing tomorrow, or the vote in the Senate potentially, with the filibuster that's still going on right now. Are you optimistic we're going to see that confirmation go through?
I do. It's a 50-vote threshold. He got 54 through the cloture to the previous vote. So I really think that we'll be in good shape to make it across the finish line. And it's too bad it is on partisan lines. But again, here the Democrats are. They're the defund the police party. We are about law and order, secure borders, making sure your family's safe. And he's going to do a great job. This guy loves America. He's a patriot. He's never going to back down from anybody. He's going to make our family safer at the end of the day. So Markwayne has our full support.
I love it. Well, if they were upset about the strong-willedness of Kristi Noem in that position, just wait until Markwayne Mullen gets in there, and they're going to be in for a treat. So I love it. U.S. Senator Roger Marshall, the state of Kansas, my senator here in the great state of Kansas. As always, Senator, we appreciate it very much. Keep up the fight, brother. We'll get you back on again soon.
Thanks so much, Andy. Everybody be safe.
You betcha. Always a pleasure to speak with him. U.S. Senator Roger Marshall from the great state of Kansas on the Patriot Mobile Newsmaker hotlines here on the Todd Starnes Radio Show. A lot of things happening in D.C. I want to spend some time breaking a lot of that down throughout the show today, and it's open lines, of course, to you at 901-260-5926. Where do we go from here? A lot of uncertainty up in the air and so much happening that they try to distract us with pettiness. We'll cover it all. Got to take a break right back here on the Todd Starnes Radio Show.
You're with Todd Starnes.
You know, Elizabeth, with everything going on in the world these days, it can feel like a lot of things are out of control, you know? But one thing I decided I could control was my health. I started taking Calitrin before bed, and I'll tell you, I'm starting to see the weight come off, and I'm feeling better, too.
And Todd, that's exactly what I love hearing, because most people think that they have to do something extreme to get healthier, and that's just not true. It's really about the small, consistent choices. And when you find something simple that you can stick with, like taking Calitrin at night, those little decisions start adding up in the right direction.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. I'm not doing anything crazy. I just take Calitrin before bed. I'm starting to see results. It's from a family-owned American company. If spring has you thinking it's time to start feeling better and getting healthier, this is a great place to begin. And if you want to learn more, well, you can check it out at tophealthsource.com. That's tophealthsource.com. Be sure to use promo code Todd.
At a time when technology is often used to distort truth, there's a new tool that's actually getting it right. My Faith Assistant is a Bible-based AI created to help you understand God's Word and grow in your faith. Many Christians have tried using online AI tools for Bible questions, only to get vague, misleading, or even unbiblical answers. That concern is real. Technology untethered from truth can quickly lead to confusion. That's exactly why Leading the Way created My Faith Assistant. This isn't a generic chatbot. It's a closed, theologically vetted system built on scripture, seminary-level resources, and more than 50 years of faithful teaching from pastor and scholar Dr. Michael A. Youssef. My Faith Assistant can help you get personalized guidance, clear theological answers, trusted biblical teaching, access to pastors and prayer teams, and deeper Bible study, all in one place. Over 50,000 people already trust it. It's free, requires no login, and it's built not for clicks, but for Christ. Try it now at myfaithassistant.com.
We're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go! Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said,
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Patriot Mobile not only shares our beliefs, but they actually do something about it. America's only conservative Christian wireless carrier. And they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes you care about. Switch to Patriot Mobile now and use the promo code TODD to get free activation and a free gift. Veterans and first responders save even more. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart.
heart, and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to it. It is the Todd Starnes Radio program. Andy Hooser sitting in today for a Monday. Todd is out, although he will be back behind the microphone tomorrow. Do not miss it, and he'll have a lot to talk about as he is meeting soon, if not like right now, meeting with President Donald Trump. They're in Memphis. They're holding their roundtable, talking about the task force that has been a major issue there in Memphis, cleaning up some of the crime in the streets for that area. So that's really exciting. We'll have more information on that. Maybe Todd will call in and give us an update later on once he goes through his thing, and looking forward to hearing from that. But thanks again to U.S. Senator Roger Marshall on the program here for the Todd Starnes Radio Show. 901-260-5926. Not sure if you've seen the video, but ICE agents officially showing up to airports, especially one in Atlanta, where Democrats losing their minds at TSA may be replaced.
International drug traffickers love.
Oh, that's the wrong one. Hold on here. Is that did I save it wrong? I think I saved it wrong. That's okay. Well, maybe I have one. Oh, Mayor Fry out of Minneapolis. He's the one that's angry about, especially more so than anybody else, at least vocally, upset about the whole ICE thing because it takes the leverage away from Democrats, saying, hey, why don't you actually just hire more TSA agents, which is kind of ironic in the situation that we're in.
This is brand new video this morning. You see them arriving there. The federal officers are at the airport to help with crowd control after days of long security lines. And Channel 2's Brittany Klein-Peters live at Hartsfield-Jackson Atlanta International Airport with a bird's eye view there up top. Brittany, you spoke with passengers stuck in the long lines below.
Yeah, so these lines, Dylan, have you seen these lines, man? They are insane across the country, especially in Atlanta. You have hours-long waits, people showing up apparently at over 1 o'clock in the morning, and the lines not only inside the airport and the terminals, going outside. Now, this is, again, during spring break. This is probably one of the busier times, people flying all over the place during the spring break celebration, which was intended by Democrats to put that pressure on and punish people as much as possible. But if that's what they want to do, I don't know that that necessarily works, to try and get people angry and then direct the frustration towards President Donald Trump. And to just rub the salt in the wound, President saying, hey, we're just going to put ICE agents into the airports, become the TSA workers. So you're stopping all this because you don't want ICE. We're just going to utilize ICE even more. And remember, ICE agents are actually funded for the next 3 to 4 years. So while we have to approve the official funding, they've already been approved through some of the other legislation that we've passed already. This is a ridiculous shutdown, but if we're going to utilize them, let's utilize them in places to where we're trying to put the pressure on the American people, taking all the leverage away from the Democrats. We'll cover some more of that here in just a minute. I want to get your thoughts on that. What is the path away? What is the off-ramp for this shenanigans? We'll cover some of that when we come back around the corner for the Todd Starnes Radio program. Stay here.
Great if life came with a remote control. You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest.
Uh-oh.
Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time, and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Many college grads are anti-capitalist activists, so if you're a business owner, how do you find new employees who won't destroy your business? Hi, this is Todd Starnes, and that's where Red Balloon comes in. They're America's #1 pro-freedom job board, and they're shaking up the hiring world by focusing on values and mission-aligned talent. Now, there are two ways Red Balloon can help. You can post your job on their national job board. Over 20,000 people visit every week. Or you can hire Red Balloon Recruiter for a more customized talent search. Now, the recruiter team is really fantastic. They start by learning your workplace culture and writing a custom job posting, and then they source and screen candidates from their national database. Their team conducts first interviews, and you get alerts when they find highly qualified candidates. And Red Balloon delivers these high-quality results at a fraction of traditional corporate recruiter prices. People are saying Red Balloon is a game changer. So check them out today, redballoon.work. Use the promo code STARNS and save $100 on Recruiter.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to it. Todd Starnes radio program. Andy Hooser sitting in for the Monday Today. You can find more information about Todd on his website, toddstarnes.com. Find his books, find all his writings, find all the great information. If you want my information, would appreciate if you check me out on my social media at Hooser Reason and HooserReason.com. That's HOOSER Reason.com. So we have the SAVE Act filibuster, which we have officially hit a week now of them talking on the floor. And that's always been the lingering question in the background is, okay, we're going to do this talking filibuster. At what point does it change anybody's minds? Because remember, how often do we really see a change of mind of the light bulb moment coming on, especially for a Democrat, and be like, oh, now I totally get it. I'm going to vote your way. Doesn't happen very often. In fact, it's really the time for everybody gets to do their grandstanding and talk about their issues to send to their constituents to be like, hey, this is what I really stand for in Washington, and, vote for me in the upcoming midterm elections. And that's really what nowadays, unfortunately, what filibusters look like. They're not even in the room. No one else is in the room. And I think that needs to change. If we're going to do filibusters, which had a purpose back in the day, and I think still have a purpose, but we need to have everybody there. And I think it should be in the rules personally, that if you're going to do a filibuster, everybody stays and everybody listens to everybody. And you have a legitimate conversation and you have a legitimate debate. Now it's not a debate. It's just calling each other out when they're not even there to listen to it. And I think that's really silly. So first and foremost, we need to go back to why we're in the position we are today. In my opinion, I'm sure Todd may feel the same way, is that we have kind of allowed ourselves as Republicans to be in the situation that we're in right now. What do I mean by that? The mini omnibus, the appropriations bills that were all together in January, Democrats said, hey, we want to separate Department of Homeland Security funding from the rest of them to where we can discuss reforms in ICE. And at that time, their reforms in ICE said, well, we're going to put body cams on ICE agents, and we're going to, to get rid of some detention cells, and we want to change their uniforms and make sure they can't wear masks. And they had this whole laundry list of ridiculous things. Now, the first mistake Republicans made was to be like, we can reform that. We'll separate it. Why the heck not? When we should have just passed it the way it was. Period, end of story. And that should have been the shutdown, because if they wanted to put pressure on people and make people suffer, meaning Democrats, then they could have done it then and just not pass the other 5 or 6 appropriation bills that it was attached to. But they wanted to separate it. Now they want to separate it even further. And they want to say, no, okay, now we have FEMA that is running dry on funds, and one big flood in the springtime, one large wildfire, which I live in Kansas, Oklahoma, Nebraska, Texas right now. We're all dealing with major wildfires at the moment. One large tornado during severe weather season, and the funds that FEMA has left, poof, gone. There's nothing left. So we're almost in crisis mode for FEMA when it comes to responsive emergencies in the nation. At the same time, we now have terrorist attacks in the nation. We have spring break with people traveling and TSA workers. It's impacting everything that's going on in the country to try to deal with immigration and customs enforcement when immigration customs enforcement is already funded. And it's not even in the appropriation. Well, it's in the appropriations bill, but they've already been funded through other means as well. So what's the next step? Katie Britt, a congresswoman from the state of Alabama, which I enjoy her. I think she does a great job, spoke on Friday last week saying that we really need to sit down and have a conversation with Democrats to try and hash this out.
Fortunately, it's been 48 days since we passed the last CR, and yet in that 48 days, we haven't had Democrats sit down with us one time. Look, I know I have colleagues on the other side of the aisle that want to find a pathway forward, and what I would encourage them to do is get in a room with us and actually have that conversation. Bill, you can't say you want to rein in ICE, but yet not come to the table to do it. Every one of my Democratic colleagues know that ICE and CBP continue to operate. They're just not operating with the guardrails that they say they want. So I would think if they were actually being honest about what they want to see happen, they'd come to the table and talk about that. I mean, think about this. You have TSA officers and agents that are going without a paycheck, Democrats that are grandstanding, but yet refuse to get in a room with Republicans. So look, I'm going to continue to work on that. I feel hopeful that we'll have an opportunity to sit down with Democrats. And I genuinely believe, Bill, that if we sit down with them and start that dialogue, we'll find a pathway forward. And that's what we owe to the American people. And it's certainly what we owe to every single person in DHS that raised their hand to protect our country.
All right. So she is optimistic, which makes me happy. I don't think that's necessarily going to happen. Democrats really haven't come to the table and sat down to negotiate at all. But I'm cautiously optimistic, and she seems very enthusiastic about wanting to sit down and actually have a conversation that way. But what's the next step? Because right now we're kind of at the quagmire. We have a week-long filibuster. We haven't gotten a whole lot done. We have a confirmation hearing or a vote coming up tomorrow for Markwayne Mullin, Department of Homeland Security new secretary. As Kristi Noem, media says she was fired. I say she got an upgrade and got a promotion because now she's dealing with what she was as Homeland Security secretary, but now on a hemispherical, almost global level, dealing with the organized crime in the Shield of the Americas, which she's going to be the one handling a lot of those issues. So, yeah, she's got some, we have some work, and we need to vote on that filibuster, or vote on the confirmation with Secretary Mark Wayne Mullen coming up tomorrow. But here's the big question then. What is the next step in the process for the SAVE Act, for Department of Homeland Security, when Democrats have no interest in voting whatsoever, like at all? Well, that's why we have President Donald Trump. And God bless Donald Trump, and God bless some of our Republicans, not necessarily leadership. John Thune, if he had it his way, we wouldn't even be in this situation, because he openly said, well, we don't have the votes for it, so we're just going to be a non-issue, and we're not going to go anywhere with it. But we had other plans. And we're going to make sure this is an extremely important issue with the SAVE Act. Donald Trump rubbing that salt in the wound now with these ICE agents becoming TSA agents, working at the airports for the same agency that they don't want to fund. We're going to utilize them more just to anger the Democrats in particular areas, and we're going to do it to help relieve the stress and the pain on the American people. I find that kind of a win across the board. And I wonder if that's going to bring down the Democrats to actually sit down at the table and have that conversation, because their whole point is let's put pressure and pain on the American people with the long lines at the TSA. Then people get angry. And then, according to Democrats, we redirect that frustration and anger towards Donald Trump that benefits us in the midterm elections. But if Donald Trump, being the outside thinking minded individual, comes up with an alternative solution, says, no, we're going to use TSA through ICE, and we're really going to make Democrats mad, but we're going to relieve the process for you trying to travel right now, then that relieves the steam off the frustration and anger of people, and then they get happy. And guess what? Donald Trump came out with that solution. That's number one, because it's all about political leverage right now, right? Number two is, and we hinted out about it earlier in the program, Senator John Kennedy has come up with a potential option as well, because even if Democrats refuse to come to the table and vote for anything with ICE, then we still have a way to ram it down their throats and tell them to say thank you for it.
We're talking and we're reasonably close. Dreamweaver. If you believe that, you'll never own your own home. We're not even on a scale of 1 to 10. We're minus 17. Here's why. There is no bill, no compromise involving ICE that the Democrats will vote for. Why? Because the Karen wing of the Democratic Party is in control. And the Karen wing of the Democratic Party will punish any Democrat that votes in any way to help ICE. That's just a fact. And we need to stop looking reality in the eye and denying it.
All right. I love how he puts things, too. He puts things in such a different perspective where I think it makes a lot of people understand what the heck's really going on. But we have to find the alternative ways, recognizing that we don't have enough of the 60 votes, but we can actually get done. And I tell you what, for midterm election, I think one of the issues that's lingering out there right now, especially with the polls that show that Democrats are up near 6 points for a potential chance to actually win over the House of Representatives. I think we're going to hold the Senate, but there's always that possibility. The minority party always has some kind of momentum going into a midterm off-season election. We'll see what that plays out. Republicans, we're a little complacent, but at the same time, we're very frustrated with the lack of action from Republican legislators in Congress. Period. End of story. We want to codify the Trump agenda. We want to codify those 300-plus executive orders. We want to downsize government, and we want action. And just like Democrats, where they cram it down our throats left and right, and there's nothing we can do about it, and we play the victim, we have to do the same thing. So what's that solution? Well, Kennedy's got that answer.
Here's what we ought to do. And I've talked to most of my colleagues about it, including Senator Thune. I don't speak for them. I would accept the Democrats' offer to open up everything except ICE at DHS. And then the very next day, I would pass a reconciliation bill which crafts a budget for ICE. We can do it without any Democratic votes. Certainly the Democrats are welcome to join us. We can do it with all Republican votes. That's how we passed the one big beautiful bill. We don't need Democrats to do anything with respect to ICE. They think we ought to abolish ICE, just like They wanted to abolish police, just like they think that kids ought to be able to change genders at recess. Not all Democrats are that way, Trey, as you know. But the Karen wing, the loon wing of the Democratic Party is calling these shots.
All right, so there we go. We have the option. I like that option. I think it's a great way to do it. At first, when he said we should separate it even more, I was a little hesitant because I didn't like the fact that we separated DHS funding from the appropriations process in the first place. But if that's going to allow us to do a reconciliation bill that needs a simple majority for the rest of ICE, then why don't we do that? It's about action. It's not about the grandstanding. And I think politically, times have changed, and you can agree or disagree here, but I think people are tired of just hearing open promises from politicians. I think that we're tired of just hearing about the grandstanding of what we believe in and what we're going to do, but then never actually see any action. We want to see the action. That's why we voted for someone like Donald Trump. That's why we put someone like that in there, where he's not a guy that just says he's going to do something, but he's actually doing it. And look at what we've had for the first year of the Trump administration has been the most productive year of any presidential administration, in my opinion, in the past century, at least, minimum, with how much he's done. Now, you may not like what he's done, but the number of items that he's addressed and worked on have been astounding. Which is why, while he mentions that he's talking to Iran, while he says he's doing these negotiations, and what is he doing? He's there today in Memphis, Tennessee, where our friend Todd Starnes is, and meeting with the president right now, talking to them as he's doing a roundtable about their task force on the crime that was happening in Memphis, Tennessee, and why that's such an important issue. Because he can multitask and do multiple things, and he gets the action done. We send National Guardsmen to Washington, D.C., boom, we clean up the streets. We send ICE and National Guardsmen to Memphis, boom, we clean up the streets. We do the same with Detroit, and we do the same with Chicago, and we do the same with, well, New York. We're trying to, but Zohran Mamdani has other plans on that one. But he's been the guy of action. And Republicans in Congress, while some of them, and I will give them kudos for that some of them are people of action, then others are there for the grandstanding. No more grandstanding. We've done it for a week. We've slowed things down. Let's use the ICE agents, which takes leverage away from Democrats and really gets them angry. And then we go along with them. And we use the system they created against us. We use it against them, which is the way politics, unfortunately, has to be done in Washington, D.C. I always try to use the analogy of kids that are playing a board game. And you know that one kid that always likes to change the rules in the middle of the game to try and benefit them so they win. And then when they still lose, they get angry, they overturn the board game, and they're like, I don't want to play anymore. It's what Democrats have done. That's the way the legal system has worked. That's the way the game has been created in Washington, D.C. It's been set up to specifically benefit them, that they can create funding. We try to take it away. Nope, unconstitutional. Not allowed to take that away. Nope, you can't do that. And then they change the rules as we go. Well, guess what? We have rules that we can use for them as well. We can separate, if you want to separate ICE from DHS funding, let's do it. And then we'll do a reconciliation bill and refund them, get them back on track. And then this entire shutdown, all of the pain, all of the annoyance, all of the lag, all of the TSA thing and waiting in the airports was all for nothing, just like it was with the longest government shutdown in American history back in October, November of last year. And then Democrats will look really silly when they try to put pressure on you, and nothing got done. And nothing got reformed. And they got nothing of what they actually wanted because they have to realize they don't have the leverage they think they do. 901-260-5926. Is that the way to go? Is that the next step in this process? And could we see that by the end of the day today, when the Senate looks to get back to regular business, confirm Markwayne Mullin for DHS Secretary tomorrow, and how much of that will go into the negotiations moving forward? We'll take your phone calls on this and more when we come back around the corner as we wrap up hour number 1 of the Todd Starnes radio program.
He's not bitter. He's blessed. Todd Starnes.
From fruits and veggies to fiber and spice, Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Well, I stopped taking it for a while, and then it dawned on me, so I started taking it again. And I don't know, I like it. I mean, I love them. I'm never going to stop taking them. And I've got a friend that's coming over here. I'm giving her a little bit for her to go try.
I love the product. I wouldn't be without it. You know, ever since I started that product, I remember seeing an ad way back. That's what convinced me. I tried it, and I've been a believer. Nothing compares with it, so I'm a lifer with it. I'm not going to change.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year, and they're looking to make 2026 the best year yet. And as a thank you to my listeners, MyPillow is offering exclusive free shipping on your entire order at wholesale pricing. That means they're bringing back the mega sale exclusively for my listeners. For example, the classic My Pillows, normally $49.98, now marked down to only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the made in the USA My Pillow My Mattress Topper. Save up to $100. Get a set of My Pillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code STARNS. Or give them a call, 800-839-8506. These offers won't last long, so call now, 800-839-8506, or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code STARNS. Order now, and your entire order ships free.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a 70-year-old man. I'm not a young guy, and I'm an ex-athlete. Well, yeah, when I was taking it, I recognized that I was feeling better, you know what I'm saying? And just mentally knowing is important also.
I am a customer of you guys. I love your product. Love it, love it. Nothing but good things to say about your product. I love it. And as long as y'all don't sell it, I'm going to take it as long as I can.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Smokey the Bear. Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do. Don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com. And remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back to it. It is the Todd Starnes radio program. Andy Hooser sitting in today for a Monday. I saw some video during the break of more ICE agents, federal officers going into the airports across the country. Houston being the latest one, where we saw a trove of the ICE workers going in to handle some of those issues. Definitely the triggering from the other side, man, they are not happy about all this. But again, hey, use the leverage, and it's kind of funny to watch for sure. All right, so President Trump has officially started talking at his Memphis Task Force Roundtable, where our very own Todd Starnes, host of this program, is sitting and witnessing as well. Dylan, let's go ahead and go live to that for a moment. Let's see what President Trump's talking about.
They're going through a big struggle right now, and we just put ICE in charge, and they're helping TSA, the agents, and they're working together so far very well. I actually suggested that in the airports they take off their masks, and they did that. In the airports, I'm a big believer in the mask because we have, Biden allowed hundreds of thousands of killers into our country. We're rapidly getting them out, by the way. But they would go after these people if they knew exactly who they were. But in the airports, it's different. I didn't love the look in the airport as you get off the plane. So I made a request and they agreed to it, so they're not going to be doing that. We would also bring out If we don't have enough, we will bring out the National Guard and, where we need it to help out at the airports. But we're not going to let this happen. It's extortion by the Democrats. They're holding up money that's already been approved, and now they're willing to go $5 billion reduction in ICE in order to get the approval on a deal that they approved, the great big beautiful deal, which is the biggest tax cut in history, the biggest regulation cut in history. They want to basically renegotiate a deal that they already approved. And they're doing it largely for a criminal element. So also the Democrats are putting our country at great risk during this period of time, a period that they call a war. They call it a war. We call it a military operation. Their leaders during this time are, as you want to say, they're in a never land. Schumer is gone. I mean, he's a Palestinian. He should be fighting on the side of Palestine. He's actually become a Palestinian leader. I don't know. I've never seen a man change so much. He used to be pro-Israel. Now he's pro-Palestine.
All right, go ahead and put it down for a minute. That is hilarious. We'll go back to that in a little bit. But apparently Chuck Schumer, he's a Palestinian now. He's all about the Free Palestine, and he used to support the Jewish community. Now he's supporting Free Palestine. But it's great and perfect timing for that because Donald Trump's right. The Democrats have been extorting you and I, if you're trying to travel, and put the pressure on you, make you frustrated, make you angry, and then for them to try to redirect that anger to be like, look, it's Donald Trump shutting things down. So what are we doing? ICE, National Guardsmen, we're going to go and open things up again. And we'll relieve that pressure, and that way the entire shutdown is null and void, and it doesn't work out for them too well. Yeah, they're losing their mind. So here's the question. How long will that last? Donald Trump sounds like he's just toying with them right now, which is what he does on many occasions. I mean, the dude is always 4 or 5 steps ahead of everybody else, and it's kind of entertaining to watch. So will Democrats come to the table now, and will they actually fund ICE with that funding already being appropriated to them for the next few years and open up DHS again to help out with this madness? Lots more to get to. It is a Monday. It is the Todd Starnes radio program. Andy Hooser sitting in for you today. Stay here.
Hey, Todd Starnes here. Every day, Americans make choices that shape our country's future, right down to which cell phone provider we support. Now, here's what a lot of people don't realize. Patriot Mobile is not just a wireless provider. They're an activist organization funded by selling top-tier cell phone service, and they've been on the front lines defending our freedom long before it was cool, standing in the gap when others would not. And the best part is they deliver prioritized premium service on all 3 major U.S. networks. When you switch to Patriot Mobile, you help grow a movement that fuels the Christian conservative cause. Every bill you pay helps advance the values of faith, family, and freedom. And switching is easier than ever. Activated minutes. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Take a stand today. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. Use promo code Todd for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Todd. Call 972-PATRIOT. Make the switch today.
Mama, what does the chicken say?
Chicken. Oh, okay.
When the wolf?
Oh, a wolf. Ooh!
What about the tiny dog? Cat? Owl? Dolphin? What does the turkey say? Whale?
Yeah, whale sound.
Do the giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Okay. Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Hello, Americans. I'm Todd Starnes. Stand by for news and commentary next.
At a time when technology is often used to distort the truth, there's a new tool that's actually getting it right. My Faith Assistant is a Bible-based AI designed to help you understand God's Word and grow spiritually. Unlike generic AI tools that give vague or unbiblical answers, My Faith Assistant is anchored in Scripture, built on seminary-level resources, and shaped by more than 50 years of trusted teaching from Dr. Michael Youssef. And it's free, no login required. Try it today at myfaithassistant.com.
A shocking number of doctors, nurses, and others in the medical profession are posting online messages threatening to injure conservatives. And in many cases, they're hoping conservatives suffer violent injuries. A labor and delivery nurse at Baptist Health Boca Raton in Florida posted a video hoping Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt suffers medical complications during childbirth. In New York City, a pair of detectives were manhandled and denied treatment at NYC Langone Hospital in the Cobble Hill section of Brooklyn. The medical team thought the detectives worked for ICE. The hospital apologized, but former Mayor Eric Adams said it was a total moral collapse, and apologies are simply not good enough. Those working in hospitals swear an oath to care for their patients. Clearly, that oath has been violated. And now we have to wonder just how many patients were either denied treatment or given inadequate treatment simply because of their conservative political beliefs. I'm Todd Starnes.
The Todd Starnes Show begins in 4 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 2 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 1 minute.
Live from the Liberty University studio in Memphis, Tennessee, it's Common Sense Conservative Commentary from Todd Starnes.
That's us. That's right. I love this American ride.
What is up, America? Welcome into it. It is the Todd Starnes radio program. Todd is out today, not behind the microphone, but that is okay. We have it covered for you today, sitting in the Liberty University studios, moving those out from Memphis, Tennessee, out to Wichita, Kansas, where I'm flagshipped out of with my flagship KQAM and a great affiliate of the Todd Starnes radio program. Great to have you here, and welcome aboard for a Monday, kicking things off. It has been a wild weekend for sure, as usual. And Todd, out and about, he'll be back tomorrow, and he's going to have some stories to tell. I tell you what, he is still in Memphis, where his flagship is. And as President Trump is speaking, which we may go to live here in just a moment if we get a chance, but President Trump in Memphis, Tennessee today, as he is at the Safe Task Force Roundtable, as you know, and Todd's talked about it quite a bit, sending the task force, the National Guard and law enforcement agents into Memphis, cleaning up the streets and the crime that has been running rampant in that area for a while. And we're getting an update on what that looks like. So President Trump is speaking. He just started a little while ago. We may go live to that here in just a minute. But what does that look like, and all the other shenanigans that are, as Joe Biden would say, the malarkey going on in society? 901-260-5926. 901-260-5926 is the studio line number if you want to tune in and let us know what's on your mind. There's plenty to talk about. We still have the filibuster, and we talked a bit about it last hour, the ongoing filibuster for the SAVE Act. Hopefully, it sounds like we may have a game plan to wrap that up and get ready for the confirmation vote of Markwayne Mullin for DHS Secretary tomorrow on Tuesday, also with DHS funding in general and the SAVE Act and so much more. But other big news happening as well with over the weekend now. It sounds like we are, and I'm curious, I'm cautiously optimistic, but at the same time, I don't know exactly what we're doing. Obviously, I don't have the intel that President Donald Trump, that Secretary Pete Hegseth has with the Department of War. But apparently, we are stopping some of the bombings for about 5 days and giving Iran a chance to talk. Now, Iran, the lying liars, pants on fire, those guys continue to lie about everything. And I don't know why we would trust them, because talks have never done anything for them and never been productive, like at all, ever. Every time they say, oh, yeah, we're going to work great with you, it ends up not happening. And they continue to taunt us. They continue to taunt Israel. They continue to, throw their little missiles out everywhere. But there has been some progression on apparently conversation, according to President Donald Trump. And we've also learned a heck of a lot more about Iran that we had hinted or rumored or thought about, but didn't know it was actually happening. For example, long-range missiles getting deep into Europe, which according to Iran, they said that they do not have. We were concerned that they possibly did have, and now we know that actually to be the case. At the same time, they've still got on the rampage of trying to send missiles into Israel and other places. So what is the long-term goal of Iran? Do you still support the movement? President Donald Trump said his timeline that he was hoping for this movement was 4 to 6 weeks. We are now into week number 4, I believe, so we are close to that timeline, and Donald Trump saying that apparently he's planning on actually wrapping up some of those operations. Is that really the best time to really do that? This was Donald Trump earlier this morning at the airport, by the way, getting onto Air Force One, getting ready to head to Memphis, Tennessee.
So the discussions took place yesterday. They went into yesterday evening. They want very much to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal too. We're going to get together today by probably phone, because it's very hard to find a country. It's very hard for them to get out, I guess. But we'll at some point very, very soon meet. We're doing a 5-day period. We'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out.
We'll keep bombing our little hearts out. That is where President Trump's mind is. Hey, we'll have the conversation. We'll see how it goes. And if not, we'll just continue on doing what we're doing, where he has focused, by the way, on wanting to attack some of the energy facilities there in the nation of Iran. Let's talk about some of this and more with our next guest on the program as we go to our Patriot Mobile Newsmaker hotline. I have been laughing at the mainstream media, and I want to say it was MS Now, the new MSNBC, or CNN, one of the two, that said that criticizing the Ayatollah, criticizing the leadership of Iran, the radical Islamists that want to kill Americans, that want to kill Israel, that want to kill Jews, those guys that we're still somehow wanting to have a conversation with, that by criticizing them and calling them the animals that they are is apparently racist. It's racist to try and call them the animals by acting and treating others like animals, which is kind of insane. And that continues with the ongoing movement that we've seen of the anti-Semitism in the nation. And that's where I want to talk with our next guest on the program, as he's the director of the Christian Outreach and Engagement for the Combat Anti-Semitism Movement. Happy to have on here EJ Kimball. EJ, is he on? We good? EJ. Oh, Todd's on. Oh, we're going to go to, all right, we'll go to EJ in here in a minute. The man himself, Todd Starnes, is on the program. What's going on, Todd? Do we have Todd? Okay, he's working on it. All right, we're working on the connection there. So Todd, as you know, and as we've been talking about, is there in Memphis, but he's been with the roundtable with President Donald Trump for the Memphis Safe Task Force, and he is giving an update. We were hoping that that would happen after his meeting or as he gets ready to meet with President Donald J. Trump there and cleaning up the streets of Memphis. So we're working on a connection. Let me know when he's on, and we'll get him there. But I ask you the question, 901-260-5926, 901-260-5926. What does the future of the movement with Iran actually look like? And do you trust a word they say? Now, as Donald Trump says, we have a conversation with Iran, the Iranians turn around and say, no, we haven't talked to Donald Trump at all, which again, lying liars, pants on fire. I don't know why we would have a conversation with them. Talking has never, ever worked there at all, but we'll get back to that in a minute. But host of the Todd Starnes radio program, calling in, giving us an update with the roundtable happening with President Donald J. Trump is Todd himself. Todd, what's going on, man? How are you?
Andy, great, and greetings from the Tennessee National Guard Air Hangar, which about 1,500 National Guard troops and a lot of politicians are here for the roundtable discussion. Just got finished. The president, you can probably hear in the background, is leading this roundtable, but really this is a celebration of the success of his Memphis Safe Task Force. Crime is down over 50% in Memphis. And the president now launching a Make America Safe Again national campaign, and he's doing that from here in Memphis. Now, Andy, just before the president hopped up on the stage, I got to spend a few minutes backstage with him, and he is in great spirits. And, of course, it was on this very radio program that the president announced he was going to look at sending the National Guard to Memphis, and the president certainly delivered on that promise. Also had a chance to spend a lot of time with Attorney General Pam Bondi, who is here as well, the War Secretary Pete Hegseth, Stephen Miller, and, of course, Kash Patel, the FBI director. So we have a lot of heavy hitters here today in Memphis.
Memphis being the central zone, the focal point for Trump right now, which is great. We went live to his speech just a little while ago, and he was talking about some of the great successes that he's seen so far. Now, for Memphis himself, Todd, has he hinted on how much longer this task force is going to be in the area?
Yeah, indefinitely, which is actually good news for the citizens here, because everybody in Memphis, I mean, overwhelmingly, the people here are so supportive. I know there was some sort of a counter protest that only drew about 24 people. So I think by and large, Andy, most people here, black and white, understand, how dangerous our city had become, and it's been a great thing. But I got to tell you, though, the person who was probably the bigger celebrity, Jerry the King Lawler, the great wrestler, is here.
I love it. Man, you guys are rocking it out there for that one, Todd. And I was going to ask you that because you mentioned it, the reception of people in Memphis. It's gotten so bad, and you've talked about it so much on the program about how bad Memphis had been with crime and just letting things run rampant, the lack of the response from law enforcement in that area. What's been the reception from different communities around the area? Are they happy to see Donald Trump show back up again?
Incredibly so. As a matter of fact, there were a lot of people that were standing on street corners across Memphis holding signs welcoming the president to the city. Of course, the president is really just hopping in, doing the event here, and then hopping, literally Air Force One is parked right outside. So the president is heading back to Washington. But, this is a big deal for Memphis. And again, one of the deadliest city, most dangerous city in America, now one of the safest in less than a year. That really says something about the president.
It's what it's about. I love it, Todd. Last question for you, because I know it sounds like it's a chaotic time back there, but talk about some of the conversation you guys had behind the scenes. Any indication on some of the other issues he had talked about with the operation in Iran and some of the other plans around? Did he give you any indication of what we could see moving forward?
Well, it was about a 90-second conversation, so we didn't have a lot, but I did thank him for what he did for Memphis. The president told a story, and I'll tell it tomorrow on the show, about Fred Smith, the late founder of FedEx. And then P and Bondi and I actually sat down for about 5 or 10 minutes for a great conversation. We'll share some of that tomorrow on the show as well.
We cannot wait for it. I love it. Todd Starnes right there in Memphis with the ongoing roundtable from President Donald Trump and the heavy hitters making their way to Memphis. Todd, we appreciate the update very much, my friend.
Thanks, Andy.
Hey, you betcha. Todd Starnes right here in the Todd Starnes radio program, calling in live with the roundtable from President Donald Trump. The big guys making their presence there in Memphis. It is so cool to see, going from one of the worst crime-ridden cities in the nation to one of the best ones in a year's time, thanks to President Donald Trump, and thanks to the calling of that with Todd Starnes right here on this program. We'll get some of your thoughts on this and more at 901-260-5926. It is the Todd Starnes radio program. Stay here.
Can't hear the whole show? Don't worry. Get the Toddcast and listen on your own time at ToddStarnes.com.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year, and they're looking to make 2026 the best year yet. And as a thank you to my listeners, MyPillow is offering exclusive free shipping on your entire order at wholesale pricing. That means they're bringing back the mega sale exclusively for my listeners. For example, the classic MyPillows, normally $49.98, now marked down to only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper. Save up to $100. Get a set of MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code STARNS. Or give them a call, 800-839-8506. These offers won't last long, so call now, 800-839-8506, or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code STARNS. Order now, and your entire order ships free. Hey, everybody, Todd Starnes here, and I've got to tell you about my friends at PhD Weight Loss, my very good friends at PhD Weight Loss. I'm down 12 pounds already, and at PhD Weight Loss, they've identified that one thing, and they built a plan that works with your body and not against it. If you call now, they're going to give you 2 free weeks in the program and pay for your food so you can finally see real results without more trial and error. If you're done with the yo-yo dieting and you want clarity, call PhD Weight Loss now and mention Starnes. No more guessing, just answers. Call 864-644-1900 and say Starnes. You're going to get 2 free weeks. You can't miss out on this, folks. 864-644-1900. Say the word Starnes or visit PhDweightLoss.com. That's PhDweightLoss.com. The phone number, one more time, 864-644-1900, and say Starnes.
Let's see, if something costs less, but people are happier with it, that sounds like something to look into, and that is MediShare. Maybe you've heard switching to MediShare to pay for healthcare can save many families up to $500 a month, and that is huge. But it's also true that people are way more satisfied after making the switch, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. MediShare works, too. It's been around for 30 years. Members have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth and a huge nationwide PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now. You'll get a price within 2 minutes. So see what you can save. This is a very, very smart use of 2 minutes. Here's the number you need. Call 844-43-BIBLE. That's 844-43-BIBLE. 844-43-BIBLE.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're
pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Patriot Mobile not only shares our beliefs, but they actually do something about it. America's only conservative Christian wireless carrier. And they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes you care about. Switch to Patriot Mobile now and use the promo code TODD to get free activation and a free gift. Veterans and first responders save even more. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT.
Most people out here think that taking care of one another is important. And most people would step up for a neighbor going through a tough time. Most people around here help out friends and family when they need it. But the funny thing is, most of us won't look for help when we need it. Talk to someone if you're struggling with mental health, because most people out here really care. Find more information at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
My mom has taken up going to the park to practice yoga.
My dad's going to a club, but not a book club, a salsa club.
Finding new hobbies comes with age.
My mom has started getting lost and not knowing where she's going.
Becoming lost or disoriented doesn't. Confusion with time or place may be a sign of Alzheimer's. An early diagnosis can help improve the quality of life for your loved one. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Todd Starnes radio program. Todd jumping on, giving us an update from the rally going on there in Memphis, which is awesome. President Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, so many others that are there and giving an update on keeping America safe and keeping our streets safe. We're going to go live to that in just a moment. But first, I want to tell you about our friends over at MyPillow. It's Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for being such great supporters over the past year and looking to make 2026 the best year yet, which doesn't surprise us, because they continue to get better. As a thank you to the listeners right here on the Todd Starnes radio program, MyPillow is exclusively offering free shipping on your entire order and at wholesale pricing. Can't get much better than that. That means they're bringing back the mega sale exclusive for the listeners right here with Todd Starnes. For example, classic MyPillow regularly at $49.98, now marked down to only $14.98. Also, turn any mattress into the best mattress with your made in the USA MyPillow My Mattress Topper and save up to $100. Get a set of the MyPillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel for only $34.98. Those deals are insane. Get the best specials ever to go to MyPillow.com and use the promo code STARNS or call it 800-839-8506. These offers will not last long, so call 800-839-8506 today or go to MyPillow.com and use that promo code STARNS. Order now and get your entire order, your shipping absolutely free with that order. That is amazing. Wholesale pricing, free shipping. These sales are absolutely insane. All right, let's go live back to the roundtable of President Donald Trump there in Memphis, talking about a lot of different issues, essentially giving an update on everything he's working on. Let's see what he's saying right now.
Really a special guy. And I've lived with him because of Washington, D.C. I saw what he did. But to say a few words, and congratulations for what you've done everywhere. But today we're only interested in one place, Memphis, Tennessee. Thank you very much, Gaddy.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you very much. So good morning to you, and thank you, Mr. President. Today we celebrate the successes of this incredible mission and all our federal, state, local, and National Guard teammates who have contributed mightily to the Memphis Safe Task Force. Mr. President, it is an honor to be entrusted by you to lead this amazing task force as Director of the United States Marshal Service. Your decisiveness in responding to state and local leaders' requests for federal assistance is inspiring. It was just over 6 months ago when you signed the executive order restoring law and order in Memphis. At that point, the city of Memphis was overwhelmed with unprecedented levels of violent crime to include some of the nation's highest per capita rates of murder, robbery, and aggravated assault. Memphis residents could not safely enjoy a walk downtown. Parents were fearful of their children playing outside, and local businesses struggled to prosper. The mission you gave us was clear and concise. Crime will not prevail in Memphis, period.
All right, let's go ahead and start. Let's put that down for just a moment here. Let's break some of this down. I love the timing on this because as we go through a DHS funding crises in Washington, D.C., and the crime that we've seen around the country, the organized crime, the gang members, the illegal migrants, everything else that's been battling right now, the Democrats are trying to stop. This is such perfect timing. This is why the genius that Donald Trump is. And whether it was planned this way or it was kind of a last-minute opportunity, never let a crisis go to waste, kind of the perfect timing on an issue like this when right now we've had, 3 or 4 terrorist attacks. We've seen the streets in Memphis, streets in Washington, D.C., and other areas actually get better around the country because of our National Guard, because of these task force focusing on safety of Americans. There's no reason why someone should be able to walk down the street and have a concern of whether they're armed in some fashion. That's what Donald Trump is focused on, an America First agenda, and Democrats have stopped that with their DHS funding. And that's kind of weird. Even Hakeem Jeffries this past week, what was it, on Friday, with this ongoing filibuster in the Senate and DHS funding and ICE in the House, he's not very happy with the way things are right now.
Democrats launched a discharge petition to force an up or down vote to make sure that we are paying TSA agents, paying the Coast Guard, supporting FEMA, and supporting the cybersecurity professionals who are working hard to keep us safe. There is no reason why the parts of the Department of Homeland Security that have been shut down by Republicans several weeks ago remain shuttered, or that individuals like TSA agents have been forced for more than a month to work without pay. Republicans have consistently refused at this point in time to enact the type of bold, meaningful, and dramatic changes to ICE that are necessary to get ICE under control.
All right, so yeah, that's they're still hanging on to this, clinging on desperately to this deal, digging their heels in the sand. We'll see how far and how long that actually goes. I don't see that working out too well for them, especially with the new plan now of, number one, putting ICE at airports to help out with TSA and to try and potentially break up ICE funding from the rest of DHS, which Democrats have called for. We'll see if they even vote for that. That would be interesting. And then for us to use a reconciliation bill, like John Kennedy said, in actually funding the rest of ICE and making them completely irrelevant and null and void. But while Donald Trump is making America safe again, and the Republicans are trying to make America safe again, the Democrats have used their political leverage to try and make us unsafe because they think that's somehow a type of political leverage that they have during the election season and the campaigns. It's not going to work well for them. Have they not learned their lesson? I know that sometimes we're kind of slow learners and that they do whatever they can to abuse the American people. Never let a crisis go to waste. But I don't know how well that's going to fare out for them. It really depends on if you're happy with the way things are and showing up to vote. I can imagine you there in Memphis, you're probably going to be showing up to vote for Republicans after the year's progress we've made in cleaning up streets. Got to take a break. It's the Todd Starnes radio program. Stay here.
You said you'd never buy your kid candy from the checkout aisle. Or forget extra diapers. And never give in to a meltdown. You'd never lick your thumb to clean their face. Never let them have too much screen time. And never bribe them for just one more bite. You say you'd never let them out in public without their hair brushed. Never, ever become a minivan mom. And you'd never give them your phone for a quiet dinner.
Calling boss work phone.
So when you say you'd never leave your child in a hot car, no, it can happen. Cars get hot fast, and kids can be at risk in temperatures as low as 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
I'll trust water bottles and a flashlight to save the day, but I'll be proved wrong.
With a tornado approaching, I'll realize that I lack a wheelchair-accessible shelter.
When the floodwaters rise, I'll be up in the attic with 20 cans of beans. It's a recipe for disaster.
let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year, and they're looking to make 2026 the best year yet. And as a thank you to my listeners, MyPillow is offering exclusive free shipping on your entire order at wholesale pricing. That means they're bringing back the mega sale exclusively for my listeners. For example, the classic My Pillows, normally $49.98, now marked down to only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the made in the USA My Pillow My Mattress Topper. Save up to $100. Get a set of My Pillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code STARNS. Or give them a call, 800-839-8506. These offers won't last long, so call now, 800-839-8506, or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code STARNS. Order now, and your entire order ships free.
You can't escape a traffic jam. Know what else you can't escape? Seasonal allergies. And you might think you can avoid that coffee stain until... Oh. Really? You can't escape a lot of things in life, but you can escape prediabetes. Prediabetes captures 1 in 3 adults. There are usually no signs of prediabetes. In fact, most people don't even know they have it. But with early diagnosis, you can change the outcome and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. Take action by taking the 1-minute risk test at doihaveprediabetes.org. You might not be able to escape having this song stuck in your head, but you can escape prediabetes. Go to doihaveprediabetes.org today. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention.
Babes, what are you doing?
What? I'm just mowing the lawn.
No, it's blazing hot and dry out here. Don't you remember? Smokey Bear says,
avoid using power equipment when it's windy or dry.
Where'd you learn this?
oh, it's on...
SmokeyBear.com with many other wildfire prevention tips.
Right. Thanks, Honey Bear.
Because remember, only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we go.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back to it. Todd Starnes radio program. Andy Hooser sitting in for the great Todd Starnes as he is out and about at that round table with President Todd. I call it a round table. I think that's what they're calling it, but it looks more like a rally. It's at a big venue. I saw the picture, and you can go to Todd Starnes' social media and website, and you can see the picture that Todd posted. It looks like a rally. It's got a table up there where the heads are talking, but then it's just got a big open area for people. It looks like a nice rally that he's doing / roundtable talking about all the great wins to keep the streets safe in Memphis. Pretty cool. We'll go back to that live here in just a little bit. There is some big news that's happening that broke today that is going to make some other side of the aisle people not very happy. It's going to trigger the heck out of them. Columbus Day. Christopher Columbus, which has always been a controversial thing here in the nation because, of course, it's about Indigenous Peoples Day, which I find ironic. President Donald Trump now has officially put a Christopher Columbus statue on the White House grounds. I'm sorry. It's the ultimate dig. It's the ultimate troll. He has put it officially at the Eisenhower Executive Office building there on the White House grounds. It is a reconstruction, this according to Fox, a reconstruction of the monument that was first unveiled by President Ronald Reagan in Baltimore back in 1984. The original was torn down and dumped into the Baltimore harbor during a Black Lives Matter riot in 2020. The plaque is based on the rebuilt statue, references both events, and it states that the monument was, quote, destroyed July 4th of 2020 and later restored. The statue was gifted to the White House and formally rededicated by President Trump. So a major statue of Christopher Columbus that is there on the White House lawns. Now, Columbus Day in October, right near my birthday, actually, which is the only reason why I remember that one. And, of course, the rebranding of it to Indigenous Peoples Day has been the move by the progressives because if it's from Europe, it's probably bad and racist and white and horrible. And I've been reading some of the comments on social media about this, and boy, are they losing their minds about how he, enslaved the populations and eradicated populations and how horrible of a human being he was. Now, let's be fair. And I'll also give President Donald Trump major props on this, that Christopher Columbus was not the first European to actually discover, quote unquote, the Americas. In fact, it was the Vikings, even way before that, when they worked their way from Greenland to Iceland over to Canada and then worked their way down that way. So they were the first ones, and we found that out recently as well through the archaeological digs. But it's still a monumental feat to not go through the short times up north, but to just sail across that big old body of water and then land. As for the whole, he's evil and horrible, and we just need to celebrate the indigenous peoples, he also landed in Central America, where they encountered people like, the Aztecs, who used to enslave other tribes and cut their hearts out as sacrifices to the gods. So the fact that he's the only terrible one, I kind of laugh at, and they need to pick up their history and what the indigenous people did as well. But the digs from Donald Trump continue to be epic. The trolling is top tier, and I applaud him for that. Christopher Columbus statue now sitting on the White House yard, and I think that's kind of hilarious. All right, 901-260-5926. I just saw that scrolling through. Major breaking news that's going to just trigger the other side, which, you know what? It's our entertainment value. If you don't take politics a little bit less serious, then it's actually kind of entertaining to watch. And I'm not saying don't think about it as a serious thing that affects you, because it absolutely does, but you gotta kind of loosen up a little bit, or else you're gonna pull out your hair with how insane the world actually is. I want to go back to just a moment for the Iranian conversation. And I ask you the question at 901-260-5926. There's been a push for anti-Semitism in society in a very strange way. And we're going to get our other guest, DJ Kimball, on the program later on and get that rescheduled. But there's a push that really tries to downplay Israel in the sense that apparently they control the United States. And is this a legitimate concern for those that did not want to get involved in Iran in the first place? Or is it the latest angle that we've tried to see coming from an anti-Semitic push when Benjamin Netanyahu and Israel controlling everything the United States does and controlling Donald Trump? I will say, if anybody doesn't control Donald Trump, it's especially Israel, because Donald Trump doesn't really be held to anybody. But at the same time, I think it's pretty clear that what we're seeing, Donald Trump sent out a tweet on Sunday that said, let me bring it up here again, that said that apparently we're pausing these conflicts, or the at least bombings, with Iran right now while we have this conversation. I don't know whether that's a good thing or not. Iran lies. I don't know if we should trust them. But he says, I'm pleased to report that the United States of America and the country of Iran have had over the past 2 days very good and productive conversations regarding a complete and total resolution of our hostilities in the Middle East. Based on the tenure and tone, if the ads want to go away here, in-depth, detailed, and constructive conversations, which will continue throughout the week. I have instructed the Department of War to postpone any and all military strikes against Iranian power plants and energy infrastructure for a 5-day period, subject to the success of the ongoing meetings and discussions. Thank you for your attention to this matter. I'm hesitant. I guess the question we have to ask ourselves is, what was the main goal and objective of getting involved in Iran? I know it was to make sure that they don't have a nuclear weapon. I know it was to make sure they do not have any intercontinental ballistic missiles, which now we found out that they do because they were able to shoot some successfully into the heart of Europe. So they're working their way closer to us and trying to flex their muscle a little bit. So they have things that they told us they did not have, and that some said that was crazy for us to even consider that they had at all. But they've kind of kept it as their ace up their sleeve, and now they're starting to expose that because we can smell the desperation coming from the nation of Iran. But it's, I thought, at least, and I could be wrong here, so correct me, I thought one of the goals of this operation was to get rid of the regime in total and give it back to the people. Because remember, the nation of Iran is not a Muslim majority nation. The nation of Iran has a long history. And in fact, they are one of the most instrumental regions in the world when it comes to history of humans and history of theology and history of religion. In fact, the vast majority of the monotheistic religions out there, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam, which are the Abrahamic laws, originally stem with the original ideas with you may not know this, with a religion known as Zoroastrianism that stemmed out of Iran. And then they were Persian and Arabian and Aryan. They're not a Muslim nation. And I'm ready for the Persians, the original people of Iran, to take their country back, which is why they were celebrating when we started the bombing in Iran, because we were finally had enough with this radicalism of the radical Islamists in this nation. And that hasn't changed. We've gone down their ranks to topple them a little bit, but it hasn't changed. It's still the same regime, just further down the ranks to where they pretend to play nice with the United States. So I thought that that was one of the reasons why we were there in the first place, was to say this entire regime, the entire Ayatollah, this entire movement is all going away. And that the people of Iran, the Persians, can come back and get rid of this radical Islamist regime and run things themselves. And we're not to that point yet. And I want to be very clear with that statement, because I am not one that wants the military-industrial complex. I am not one that wants a long-term war. I'm not one that wants to see this go on for the next 20 years. As a millennial and a guy that's 37, we've had the long history of what happened in the Middle East with Iraq and with Afghanistan and the Bush administration and the Obama administration and the Biden administration with their ridiculous pulling out of Afghanistan as well, that we kind of have a bad taste, and we have a little bit of PTSD on exactly what foreign wars, especially in the Middle East, actually look like. And we do not want that. And I applaud the Trump administration and Pete Hegseth and the others that have been very clear on what the timeline looks like, what our goals have been, and reiterating that that is not what this plan is. And I've trusted them, and I believe them. Because even someone like Tulsi Gabbard, if you remember, Tulsi Gabbard came on board as a Republican in support of Donald Trump in this administration to now become the director of national intelligence, because he was not a warmonger from either side. He was changing the Republican Party, and she openly admitted that when she deregistered as a Democrat, she registered as a Republican and endorsed someone like Donald Trump, which was kind of a shock and awe moment for us. I don't know if you remember that time. That was a bit of a surprise when she said Donald Trump's not a warmonger. She's a member of the National Guard down in Hawaii, and said we don't want long-term conflicts. He's not beholden to the military-industrial complex, unlike Hillary Clinton and the others. I'm dropping out as a Democrat and endorsing Donald Trump. That was a bombshell. And then we saw last week the statements that she did in a congressional hearing and a social media post that has not condemned this operation in Iran, that openly said, as one who's looking at this intelligence and working hand in hand with the Trump administration, we have this intel, and he deemed it to be a big enough threat to where we needed to get involved, and we do not want to send U.S. troops to the nation of Iran, but we will bomb them enough to cripple them to allow the people to actually take back their country. And when someone like Tulsi Gabbard says that, to me, it kind of validates our concerns of what we've had and makes us feel better that even if she's on board, then everything's going to be okay. So I don't want us to be in a long-term conflict. At the same time, are we quite really ready to be done? And Have we really accomplished what we set out to do? Now, Benjamin Netanyahu, which, by the way, did you know, apparently there's been that trend that he was dead and that there was a couple weird AI videos that floated out there from the Israeli pages on social media of him in a coffee shop, and it wasn't really him, and it looked like the coffee wasn't moving, and he maybe had like 6 fingers. There was a rumor that he was dead, which he's not, because he just made a public statement and he was in the public just recently, just over the weekend, advocating for troops on the ground. But that really resonates with 2 points, right? Number one, I think that Iran was looking for ways to try and go after Netanyahu, which is why they leaked some fake videos of where he might be in order to try and take them off the trail. But number two, this should be an indication that Donald Trump is not beholden to Israel. When Donald Trump sends out a tweet saying we're going to cease operations for 5 days and allow them to open up the ports and allow them to start negotiating with us and to admit their defeat, while we have Netanyahu out there that's advocating for us to put boots on the ground and actually do more.
If you want proof that Iran endangers the entire world, the last 48 hours have given it. In the last 48 hours, Iran targeted a civilian area. They're doing that as a mass murder weapon. Luckily, no one was killed, but that's due to luck, not their intention. Their intention is to murder civilians. Second, they fired on Jerusalem right next to the holy sites of the 3 monotheistic faiths, the Western Wall, the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and the Al-Aqsa Mosque. And by dint of a miracle, again, none of them were hurt, but they were targeting the holy sites of the 3 major monotheistic religions. Third, they fired an intercontinental ballistic missile on Diego Garcia. That's 4,000 kilometers. I've been warning all the time. They have now the capacity to reach deep into Europe. They already have fired on a European country, Cyprus. They are putting everyone in their sights. And fourth, they're stopping a maritime international route, energy route, and trying to blackmail the entire world. What more proof do you need that this regime that threatens the entire world has to be stopped?
All right, so that was Netanyahu just over the weekend, advocating for more boots on the ground to not cease these operations, and a proof in the pudding of the fact that they now have intercontinental ballistic missiles that allow them to go further than what we had anticipated, and that when Democrats were critical of Donald Trump getting involved in this conflict, they're like, no, they're not a threat. Don't you worry about a thing. But it shows that they do have capabilities that they were not telling us about, that breaks all of the treaties, all of the Iranian deals that Barack Obama and all these others put together that were critical when Donald Trump got rid of them because they were so useless, kind of like the United Nations, a useless organization that does absolutely nothing. And we're seeing what's been done behind the scenes that we were not aware of, and why this intelligence coming from Tulsi Gabbard and the Department of National Intelligence, giving it to the Trump administration, deemed that this to be a threat, and we have to continue on. So my question to you now is, do we end the operation? Do we just wanted to get rid of some of this technology, make sure they don't have a nuclear weapon? Or was it full-on regime change, not by putting in a new regime by us, but allowing the people of Iran, the Persian original Arabian people there, to come up with their own government and do their own regime change, and us just giving that assistance in order to do so? And are we beholden to Israel by them saying, hey, this is still an imminent threat, we need boots on the ground, and we have to escalate this, which he's advocating, not just the United States, but other nations around the region to get involved in this as well. 901-260-5926. Got to take a break. It is the Todd Starnes radio program. Stay here.
You're with Todd Starnes.
From fruits and veggies to fiber and spice, Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a natural bodybuilder, so I know when something works and when something doesn't. I've tried so many different products. When I got your product, and like I said, I'm a natural bodybuilder, as soon as I got it, did them for a week, and I told my brother, I said, Rick, you need to try these. You know I won't give you nothing if it don't. He tried them, bam, the first day. He said, this is a good product. And I got my mom on them, and I just keep pushing your product. It's a great product. You're a great company, and everybody there I've talked to has been so kind. Great product. It does what it says it does.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
At a time when technology is often used to distort truth, there's a new tool that's actually getting it right. My Faith Assistant is a Bible-based AI created to help you understand God's Word and grow in your faith. Many Christians have tried using online AI tools for Bible questions, only to get vague, misleading, or even unbiblical answers. That concern is real. Technology untethered from truth can quickly lead to confusion. That's exactly why Leading the Way created My Faith Assistant. This isn't a generic chatbot. It's a closed, theologically vetted system built on scripture, seminary-level resources, and more than 50 years of faithful teaching from pastor and scholar Dr. Michael A. Youssef. My Faith Assistant can help you get personalized guidance, clear theological answers, trusted biblical teaching, access to pastors and prayer teams, and deeper Bible study, all in one place. Over 50,000 people already trust it. It's free, requires no login, and it's built not for clicks, but for Christ. Try it now at myfaithassistant.com.
We are living in dangerous and unstable times. Hello, everybody. I'm Todd Starnes. Pandemics, international insecurity, shortages, supply chain disruptions, and an economy on the brink. We know we can't simply trust the government to protect us. Now more than ever, everyone needs to be prepared. And being prepared is more than just stockpiling ammo, food, and supplies. Being prepared should also include stockpiling critical prescription medications. And that's where my friends at the Wellness Company come in. Their medical emergency kit contains the prescriptions, antibiotics, antivirals, and antiparasitics that you need to keep you and your family safe, from anthrax to tick bites to COVID, and even to a bioweapon like the plague. The Wellness Company's medical emergency kit is exactly what you need to have on hand to be prepared. Go to twc.health/Starnes today and order. That's twc.health/Starnes. Use the promo code STARNES and you're going to save an extra 10%.
Get hurt in the game? We tough it out. Feel exhausted? We push on. Feeling down? We pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. But there are times when bootstraps aren't enough. When stress gets to us and we need to talk to someone about what we're really going through. So we're going to reach out, because sometimes mental health is not a one-person job. Visit loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. Brought to you by the Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom? She started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to it. Todd Starnes Radio program. Great to have you here on a Monday. Andy Hooser sitting in for Todd Starnes today. I want to tell you about our friends over at Patriot Mobile. As you know, every day Americans make choices that shape the country's future, right down to what phone provider that we actually support with our everyday cash. And here's what most people don't realize. Patriot Mobile isn't just a wireless provider. They're an activist organization that's funded by selling top-tier cell phone service. They've been on the front lines defending our freedom long before it was cool, standing up in the gap where others would not do so. And the best part is they deliver prioritized premium service on all 3 major U.S. networks, giving you the same or even better coverage backed by 100% U.S.-based customer support. Now you can get unlimited data plans, mobile hotspots, international roaming, and so much more. And when you switch to Patriot Mobile, you'll help grow a movement that fuels a Christian conservative cause. Every bill that you pay helps advance the values of faith, family, and freedom. Switching is easier than ever as well. Activating in minutes. Keep your number, keep your phone, or you can upgrade to something different. Take a stand today. Here's what you do. Go to patriotmobile.com/the promo code Todd, patriotmobile.com/Todd, or call 792-PATRIOT and use that promo code Todd and get 1 free month of service. How cool is that? That's patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT and make that switch today with our friends over at Patriot Mobile. All right, let's go to, again, real quickly, let's see what they're jumping into is the roundtable happening in Memphis, Tennessee. What's the latest from President Donald Trump?
So much so that we've decapitated the leadership of the Rich and Ruthless gang and the Vice Lord gangs operating here in Memphis. Their leadership, their membership is currently running the streets without any sort of direction. The gang members are falling apart. They're weakened. Their ability to coordinate and commit violent crimes are broken down because of the Memphis Safe Task Force. We've also been able to identify numerous firearms trafficking task force. Some of the evidence items that you see here were recovered from violent gang members. Many of these firearms were converted from semi-automatic weapons to be able to accept machine gun conversion devices, which now allow these rifles and pistols to shoot full auto. Those weapons were used by the gang members to terrorize this community and commit numerous homicides and numerous aggravated assaults. Those networks were identified and removed from operations. One in particular was operating three 3D printing machines, making machine gun conversion devices in his house when search warrants were executed by ATF and our Memphis Safe Task Force partners. We are continually focused on preventing violent crime. In one instance, while we were out on patrol with our state and local partners, our agents responded to a shooting that had just occurred, located a victim that sustained serious gunshot injuries. Agents were able to render first aid on the scene and prevent that victim from bleeding out. Victim was transported to the hospital and ultimately survived because of the Memphis Safe Task Force being here.
Wow.
Our agents regularly
go ahead and
talk
put
to
that down.
members of the community.
Another update of what's going on in Memphis. This is not just isolated to Memphis. This is a nationwide movement right now, and this is why so many people are excited to actually be able to walk out in their streets and walk down the street or walk in a park and not be worrying about what kind of crime or threats may be out there. This is a big win. And with the Homeland Security funding lingering in the balance right now, this is a major statement from President Donald Trump. I love the fact that he's doing this in a round table, I guess, / rally that's happening in Memphis right now, and it's not gonna go unnoticed. So well done. Always a couple steps ahead of others. And can you imagine that the other side is angry about it and that wants this organized crime, wants this gang movement, wants this rampant chaos in our streets to continue on because Donald Trump doesn't have the authority to do so? Every step of the way, they've been on the losing end. Every step of the way, they look a little more foolish every single day. We got plenty more to cover here in hour number 3 of the Todd Starnes radio program. Andy Hooser sitting in for Todd Starnes. Lots more coming up. Stay here.
You know, Elizabeth, with everything going on in the world these days, it can feel like a lot of things are out of control, you know? But one thing I decided I could control was my health. I started taking Calitrin before bed, and I'll tell you, I'm starting to see the weight come off, and I'm feeling better, too.
And Todd, that's exactly what I love hearing, because most people think that they have to do something extreme to get healthier, and that's just not true. It's really about the small, consistent choices. And when you find something simple that you can stick with, like taking Calitrin at night, those little decisions start adding up in the right direction.
Yeah, that's what I like about it. I'm not doing anything crazy. I just take Calitrin before bed. I'm starting to see results. It's from a family-owned American company. If spring has you thinking it's time to start feeling better and getting healthier, this is a great place to begin. And if you want to learn more, well, you can check it out at tophealthsource.com. That's tophealthsource.com. Be sure to use promo code Todd.
What I know about courage, I learned from my adoptive mom. She said sometimes you just gotta hold on and know we'll get through this. Mom, we are so high up. Hold my hand.
No, you hold my hand.
Here we
go. Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more.
I learned patience from my adoptive dad. All he had to say was,
"Hey, you got this. Just breathe." Hey, we're pretty good.
Yeah.
Might have to start a band.
I got it.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to find out more. This message is brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
Hello, Americans. I'm Todd Starnes. Stand by for news and commentary next.
At a time when technology is often used to distort the truth, there's a new tool that's actually getting it right. My Faith Assistant is a Bible-based AI designed to help you understand God's Word and grow spiritually. Unlike generic AI tools that give vague or unbiblical answers, My Faith Assistant is anchored in Scripture, built on seminary-level resources, and shaped by more than 50 years of trusted teaching from Dr. Michael Youssef. And it's free, no login required. Try it today at myfaithassistant.com.
A shocking number of doctors, nurses, and others in the medical profession are posting online messages threatening to injure conservatives. And in many cases, they're hoping conservatives suffer violent injuries. A labor and delivery nurse at Baptist Health Boca Raton in Florida posted a video hoping Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt suffers medical complications during childbirth. In New York City, a pair of detectives were manhandled and denied treatment at NYC Langone Hospital in the Cobble Hill section of Brooklyn. The medical team thought the detectives worked for ICE. The hospital apologized, but former Mayor Eric Adams said it was a total moral collapse, and apologies are simply not good enough. Those working in hospitals swear an oath to care for their patients. Clearly, that oath has been violated. And now we have to wonder just how many patients were either denied treatment or given inadequate treatment simply because of their conservative political beliefs. I'm Todd Starnes.
The Todd Starnes Show begins in 4 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 2 minutes. The Todd Starnes Show begins in 1 minute.
From the Liberty University studio in Memphis, Tennessee, it's America's conservative blowtorch.
That's us. That's right. I love this American ride.
Todd Starnes.
What is up, America? Welcome into it. It is the Todd Starnes radio program, and it is so great to have you today for a Monday. We are setting that tone, kicking things off. Carpe Diemisms all over the place, which is what we do here on the show each and every day. Todd getting you ramped up and ready to rock and roll, but Todd is not here. In fact, he is out at that rally, the Round Table with President Donald Trump, Pam Bondi, Pete Hegseth, and others. They're all there in Memphis, Tennessee, talking about keeping America safe with the National Guard on the streets and their task force that they have around the nation. And they're in Memphis, turning it from one of the most crime-ridden cities to one of the safest cities in the nation, and that's pretty awesome. And Todd called in last hour giving us an update from there at the rally, him getting to meet and sit down with President Trump in person, sitting down with Pam Bondi, talking about many different issues. I cannot wait for tomorrow when he's back behind the microphone to give us a breakdown of how all of that is going on. So we will cover some more of that. If they are still going live, we may jump into it throughout this hour, but welcome aboard as usual. Andy Hooser sitting in today, moving the Liberty University studios out here from Memphis, Tennessee to Wichita, Kansas. KQAM, the Big Talker, my flagship, and a great affiliate of the Todd Starnes radio program. I want to hear from you this hour, 901-260-5926, 901-260-5926 on any that we've covered and everything else throughout the day today. As Donald Trump talks about getting rid of crime and making our streets safe, battling organized crime, deporting cartel members, breaking up gang members, it's been an ongoing effort for the past year, making us safer, and yet some of the rhetoric that we hear from the other side, which is extremely entertaining, by the way. I didn't realize that you could just say random things without them being fact-checked in some fashion or just taken as just fact. I always encourage, even with Todd, when he says something, when I say something on here and on our shows, that you want to fact-check. You want to make sure that what we're saying is accurate, right? Because you can't just say things and then people are like, that sounds great. That sounds like the right thing. Jasmine Crockett, which I cannot wait until the end of the year when she's out of office. She has been booted out with the redistricting in Texas. She lost the Senate primary to Tallarico, which is a whole nother issue we don't have time to get into right now, but she's on the way out. So she feels that she has the right to just say random things. And I find it interesting. And while Donald Trump right now is doing a roundtable / rally in Memphis, he's hyping up the fact that we do have crime that has been decimated in society, like near 50% drops of crime, major crimes around the country right now, that Jasmine Crockett has the pair of huevos to go out and say that Donald Trump is friendly to criminals and drug traffickers. Oh, yeah, that happened.
International drug traffickers love Donald Trump because they know that even if they are arrested, it's easy enough to get a pardon from him. The data shows that Donald Trump is one of the most pro-drug trafficking presidents in modern day history.
I love it. Again, you could just say things. Now, a couple points, and then I don't want to spend too much time on it because I don't like to give her a lot of attention, although she is kind of the low-hanging fruit out there to poke fun at, that you would think that the push to try and call Donald Trump favorable to drug traffickers would fall on a lot of deaf ears, even from the other side of the aisle. Because while we have now the shield of the Americas and we're going after organized crime and cartels around our hemisphere, Central and South America, and the civil war in Mexico we're seeing right now, and a lot of issues, that would pretty much just negate everything she just said in the first place. At the same time, she goes on to talk about the drug traffickers and the people that have drug charges that he has pardoned out of jails across the nation. And I could be wrong. I thought the platform of Democrats and the platform of the progressives and the platform of many of the minority persuasion around the country was the fact that we have wrongly jailed people for minor drug charges, and that while we do this reform on marijuana and we try to bring it from a class 1 to a class 3 narcotic classification, and that we allow medical studies on this one, Donald Trump and his administration, including those, apparently there's a czar that advocates for who should be pardoned, a pardoning czar or whatever their title is, that they focus primarily on people with low-level drug charges to be released. So even on that premise, Everything she says is absolutely insane, but that's Jasmine Crockett for you, to where apparently we're just friendly to cartels and drug traffickers now.
International drug traffickers love Donald Trump.
Yeah, okay. That's the ridiculous. Look, I'm telling you, there is a major divide in reality right now, and I think that's going to show with the social experiment in the midterms of 2026 on who people are going to turn out and vote for based on the information they have and based on the rhetoric that they listen to, because there is literally a polar opposite. If you talk to a Democrat, they think the sky is purple outside, and if you don't agree with that, then you're some sort of racist. And you can look outside and obviously see that's not the case. Have you seen the movie? It was, what was it called? It was a Netflix movie. It got horrible reviews. It was called Don't Look Up. And it was about this asteroid that was going to come and decimate the Earth. And politics, the political leaders didn't want the hysteria of society by knowing the world was going to end. So they literally created a campaign on social media that said, don't look up. Don't look up and see the thing that's blatantly in the sky that's hurling towards Earth. Don't look up. And there was a hashtag on it on social media, and there was a trend on it. And then people would take videos of the asteroid and the big light in the sky and post it on social media. And then they say it was fake. And it was such a stupid movie, but it really did showcase what the kind of society that we're in right now, where you can literally tell people to not do basic things and they'll go along with it. Or you can show them truth and reality, and they just ignore it because it doesn't fit a certain narrative, and they can start a campaign to actually blind you. It's the truth always comes out in the end, but golly, man, it's wild. It's a crazy world out there. All right, 901-260-5926. Thank you, Jasmine Crockett, for the entertainment of the day. I do want to get into some other issues that have not been talked about much lately, but today, not sure if you're aware or not, today is actually an ongoing hearing from the Supreme Court with a case that the RNC is involved in on the deadline for mail-in ballots for election season. Now, as we go on with the filibuster for the SAVE Act in the Senate, and we're trying to mandate that you show a voter ID to actually vote, wild concept constitutionally, right? That now we have this bill or this movement to try and actually have election day be election day, and that you should not have mail-in ballots come in after election day, because right now, nationwide in general, we have about a 3-day grace period. As long as it's time stamped on election day, you can drop it in the mail election day and have it not get there for 3 or 4 days after, and somehow that still gets counted. And I find that probably one of the dumbest things in the world. Election day is election day, and we already have with early voting, we have like a 2-month period in a 2-month window, which, by the way, as the SAVE Act conversation goes on, that was the argument that I heard over the weekend from a Democrat was, well, if you want to go and vote and you don't have your ID stuff and you didn't get verified and you want to vote and it's October and you want to go there, but you got to validate it by having your passport. You can't get your passport because it's 6 weeks out before you can get it. So therefore, we're taking someone's ability to vote away because of the time frame that we're giving them to get all this documentation. It's a dumb argument, but they like to play victim all the time. I didn't realize that you can have a 2-month window and then still have procrastinators on the day before the election be like, oh, I think I'm going to go and vote. All right. Wasn't paying attention to politics all the way before, but why? Why the heck not? We're just going to show up to the polling place on election day. And then if they don't let me vote because I didn't do the prerequisites beforehand, then of course now it's voter suppression and we're letting people not have their voices heard in our society. Kind of a dumb argument, but I do want to go to, this happened just a little while ago, the conversation internally, which you can hear on YouTube, the ongoing conversation regarding the mail-in ballot conversation with the U.S. Supreme Court on what that looks like. And the conversation was actually kind of interesting.
You said the final choice has been made. And there are lots of different ways, it seems to me, that you can make a final choice. And you also have the problem of this revocability from the Postal Service, that regulation.
So I think, to start with the first part, Your Honor, I mean, I think we're going at a historically recognized form of finality. I think history is helpful in a number of ways. And one way is that as long as we've had mail-in voting, we've for almost as long as that time, we've had post-election day ballot receipt. I mean, mail-in voting, I think in general, has been understood as a permissible, unchallenged method.
I wouldn't rely on the history if I were you, since you're telling us not to rely on the other side's history. Like, just because it's always been done that way doesn't mean it has to be done that way, which I actually find is a good point in your favor. But then it seems to me that you're flipping back around and saying, well, absentee voting has always been done that way by common carrier, and so that's how we would expect it to be done.
Well, I think it says something that for 100 years, we've had people voting by mail, and that's been an understood means of submitting a ballot to the state. I think what it embodies, Justice Barrett, is there's an intuition that when you put something through the Postal Service, it's final, it's trusted. It's not like giving it to a kind of a non-official third party.
Well, what if a state came up with a law that said so long as a notary, that's official, that's recognized, certified that you cast your ballot on election day and it was delivered later by whatever means, common carrier or not, what in your theory of the preemptive effect of this statute would preclude that law?
All right, so interesting conversation with the Supreme Court. The oral arguments happening today on this case that involves the RNC trying to make election day nationwide. We don't need a 3-day grace period. You have 2 months to go and vote. You have 2 months for your early voting ballots, mostly, depending on your state laws around the nation, that you have plenty of time to get registered if you plan on voting. You have plenty of time to request your mail-in ballot, and you have plenty of time to get it sent back before that deadline. Look, I don't know why we've allowed it. Apparently, we're just going to push it out to just have a year-long election to where, oh, hey, look, the people are trickling in 6 months in advance. Why? Because why the heck not? Oh, we need more votes after Election Day? Well, I guess we better go start door knocking and get some more people out there to turn out. Like, come on. It's so stupid. I've always been one, personally, that likes Election Day being on Election Day. Even the early voting kind of bugs me. I understand nowadays with how many people vote and the lack of precincts that we have around the country in certain cities that, okay, I get it, early voting, whatever. But, I mean, especially mail-in. Why would you trust the USPS and the Postal Service to deliver your ballot when this should be, at least in my eyes, one of the most important things that you do? Why you would trust the government-run mail system to deliver that? I don't know. I'm all for drop boxes if you're going to do anything. I mean, at least do that. At least those are somewhat secure for the most part, at least in certain areas. I'm basing that knowledge off of what we do here in Kansas. And we actually just passed a law not this session, but last year's 2025 legislative session to actually make Election Day on Election Day and to get rid of the 3-day grace period. That if you're going to mail it in, you have to do it, and it has to be post-dated by a certain time. And if it gets received the day after elections, it's not counted. So, stop being the procrastinators. And Americans, we are really good at being procrastinators. Procrastinators unite tomorrow because we just don't want to do it today. I get it. I've been in customer service before. I know that people love to wait to the last minute to do anything, and it drives me absolutely nuts. For those that don't know, I was a banker in a past life before I got back into radio, and I worked at one of the banks that were inside of a grocery store, and we closed at 7 p.m. And right at 7, we turned off the lights. Our drawers were balanced. We were putting money in the vault. And sure enough, at 7:02, I need to make a deposit. Like, bro, it was 7 o'clock. It was already done. Sorry, got to come back later. Like, you had all day. And I get it. Things happen. But golly, it's, we love to procrastinate in society. And it drives me nuts. So this goes into the election cycle. Are you ready for Election Day to be actually Election Day? And we can get the results those nights. We don't have to wait for mail-ins that are coming in 3 days late. We don't have to wait for those absentee ballots. Absentee ballots will still be counted afterwards, but we can at least minimize the time we have to wait based on getting election results on the night of. I think this is a big one. I personally believe this is going to stand and allow the Republicans, allow the RNC to continue on with their push to end that grace period nationwide and force states to adapt those types of policies in their own states. 901-260-5926. The focus on elections with the mail-in ballots and with the SAVE Act. Are we cleaning up the elections to where you can feel confident about it and that we could see maybe a drastic difference in the results of elections come November of this year? We'll get your thoughts on that right around the corner for the Todd Starnes radio program. Stay here.
Triggering microaggressions from coast to coast. You're listening to Todd Starnes.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies and fiber and spice supplements. Our ingredients are 16 whole fruits, 15 whole vegetables, 4 powerful fibers, and 12 aromatic spices. It's one irresistible combo.
Oh, I have a friend, Julia, who has taken a Balance of Nature now for quite some time, and she said, "Oh, Becky, ask your doctor about taking Balance of Nature." So I talked to my doctor about it, and she said, "Oh, try it."
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements today. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't wait. Now's the time to take action. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code Todd.
Mike Lindell and the MyPillow employees want to thank you for your great support this past year, and they're looking to make 2026 the best year yet. And as a thank you to my listeners, MyPillow is offering exclusive free shipping on your entire order at wholesale pricing. That means they're bringing back the mega sale exclusively for my listeners. For example, the classic My Pillows, normally $49.98, now marked down to only $14.98. Turn any mattress into the best mattress ever with the made in the USA My Pillow My Mattress Topper. Save up to $100. Get a set of My Pillow Giza Dream Sheets for as low as $29.98 or the 6-pack towel set for only $34.98. To get the best specials ever, go to MyPillow.com. Use promo code STARNS. Or give them a call, 800-839-8506. These offers won't last long, so call now, 800-839-8506, or go to MyPillow.com and use promo code STARNS. Order now, and your entire order ships free.
We're live here outside the Perez family home, just waiting for the... And there they go! Almost on time this morning. Mom is coming out the front door strong with a double-arm kid carry. Looks like Dad has the bags. Daughter is bringing up the rear. Oh, but the diaper bag wasn't closed. Diapers and toys are everywhere. Ooh, but Mom has just nailed the perfect car seat buckle for the toddler. And now the eldest daughter, who looks to be about 9 or 10, has secured herself in the booster seat. Dad zips the bag closed, and they're off. But looks like Mom doesn't realize her coffee cup is still on the roof of the car. And there it goes. Oh, that's a shame. That mug was a fam favorite.
Don't sweat the small stuff. Just nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Learn more at nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
All right, son. Time to put out this campfire.
Dad, we learned about this in school.
Oh, did you now? Okay. What's first?
Smokey Bear said to.
First drown it with a bucket of water, then stir it with a shovel.
Wow, you sound just like him.
Then he said.
If it's still warm, then do it again.
Where can I learn all this?
It's all on SmokeyBear.com with other wildfire prevention tips, because only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Now more than ever, it's important to support companies and organizations that share our values. Patriot Mobile not only shares our beliefs, but they actually do something about it. America's only conservative Christian wireless carrier. And they donate a portion of every dollar to organizations that fight for causes you care about. Switch to Patriot Mobile now and use the promo code TODD to get free activation and a free gift. Veterans and first responders save even more. Go to patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT. That's 972-PATRIOT.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed. Oh, yeah? Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too. Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Are you prepared for an emergency or disaster? Because it's not a matter of if, but when. Don't find yourself saying,
when the storm rolls in, my time to find a pet-friendly evacuation center will have run out.
The scorching heat wave will leave me powerless to cool my insulin.
I'll face a hurricane without meds. Now that's a tough pill to swallow.
Let's prepare so we all have a better story to tell. Get started at ready.gov/older adults. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back to it. Todd Starnes Radio Show. Andy Hooser sitting in today for a Monday, 901-260-5926. If you'd like to jump on the show and let us know some of your thoughts on all this and more. By the way, we are going into a sacred time of the year, as you know, which is Passover, which is when we remember God's deliverance and the night that he brought his people out of bondage. and into freedom. And this year, right now, many of God's people will be observing that in the darkness and under the shadow of war and ongoing conflict. Across the nation of Israel, red alert sirens pierce the air. Families run into shelters with seconds to spare. Elderly men and women fear that they'll be left behind if something happens. Parents comfort frightened children as explosions shake the night. Sleeplessness and uncertainty have become the daily life in that region. But Passover reminds us that God hears the cries of his people and his answers with love and compassion. And that's why the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews is on the high ground right now with Israel, providing food and emergency supplies, equipping bomb shelters, and caring for elderly Holocaust survivors that are still there. And just as its people once cried out for deliverance, vulnerable Israelis need your help today. Your most generous Passover gift shows that you stand with God's people. To rush your gift today, call 888-488-IFCJ. That's 888-488-IFCJ, or you can give online as well to ifcj.org. That's ifcj.org. Go and donate today with the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews. All right, we have a few minutes before our bottom of the hour here as we talk about the election season. Here in Kansas, as I mentioned, we passed our voter laws. We have a Kansas Save Act actually that we're working on. We've made sure that election day is actual election day. And if we're able to implement this on a nationwide front, what kind of changes could we see in the results of the elections? How much influence do Democrats really have in society, and how popular are they when the polls continue to show that they lose popularity every day? And it's really just because they're out of touch, right? I mean, you have Chuck Schumer out there putting the cheese on the burger, the raw burger patty on the grill. I'm just like you. You got Kamala Harris out on the late night TV shows drinking the adult beverage. You got Elizabeth Warren that's on the live stream. You want a beer? I want a beer. Let's have a beer. Let's have a beer together. Trying to sound relatable. AOC trying to do the challenges on social media to look like they're a great fighter. Pick your fighter for the one who's going to stand up and represent you. It's all a gimmicky hoax, and it's really kind of cheesy because their popularity is in the absolute tanks. Now, I don't put a whole lot of comfort in the polls, but we're getting some conflicting reports right now, and I would have to go with the one that CNN, who despises Donald Trump, by the way, continues to report when 100% of MAGA Republicans are supporting Donald Trump right now with his approval rating, even with the ongoing conflict in Iran. And while you could say, well, there's less people in the MAGA movement, so it's less of a poll, that it's not true, because actually more people are identifying as MAGA than what previous polls have showed as well. But on the other hand, there's another poll that shows that Trump's approval rating is at 34% and extremely low, and that only 18% of Americans think that they're better right now financially, which is kind of an ironic time to release a poll like that because, well, with the higher gas prices right now, because of the conflict with Iran, of course, people are going to be a little frustrated with the way gas prices are. But let's remember, gas prices are still lower right now than what they were during the Biden administration over the past 4 years. So you can try and throw a fit all you want to. They're still lower than that. And most people were saying that they were okay with paying higher gas prices to support the nation of Ukraine during that conflict with Russia that's still ongoing, by the way. But conveniently, we don't hear much about that one. So we're not sure exactly where Donald Trump's approval ratings are with 34% or, I don't know, in the mid-50s overall, with 100% of Republicans and the MAGA individuals supporting him right now. But that's why he's on the campaign trail. That's why he's in Memphis. That's why he's talking about what he's talking about, to show the wins and then potentially winding down this conflict in Iran, which we're going to lead to lower gas prices across the board. We'll talk with some of that with our next guest right around the corner here for the Todd Starnes radio program on a Monday. Stay right here.
Great if life came with a remote control. You know, you could hit pause when you needed to, or hit rewind, like that time you knocked down that wasp's nest. Uh-oh. Or that time you forgot to roll up your windows in the car wash.
Fantastic.
Yeah, a remote control would have come in handy then. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes like managing your weight, getting active, stopping smoking, and eating healthier, you can stop prediabetes before it leads to type 2 diabetes. It's easy to learn your risk. Take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Life doesn't come with a remote control. Yikes! So you're on your own with the wasps. You have the power to take control of prediabetes. Visit doihaveprediabetes.org today. That's doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its Prediabetes Awareness Partners.
I'm Smokey Bear, and I made an assistant to help you prevent wildfires.
Dude, I've got this. I've been camping since I was 5 years old.
But I am a camping influencer.
You know what? I'll bet you $5. Assistant Smokey, what is the best way to put out a campfire?
To put out a campfire, drown with water, stir, drown again. Then make sure the fire is out cold by feeling with the back of your hand.
Wait, really?
I'll take the $5.
Learn more at SmokeyBear.com.
Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
And here's Heather with the weather.
Well, it's beautiful out there, sunny and 75, almost a little chilly in the shade. Now, let's get a read on the inside of your car. It is hot. You've only been parked a short time, and it's already 99 degrees in there. Let's not leave children in the back seat while running errands. It only takes a few minutes for their body temperatures to rise, and that could be fatal.
Cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. Never leave a child in a car. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Many college grads are anti-capitalist activists, so if you're a business owner, how do you find new employees who won't destroy your business? Hi, this is Todd Starnes, and that's where Red Balloon comes in. They're America's #1 pro-freedom job board, and they're shaking up the hiring world by focusing on values and mission-aligned talent. Now, there are two ways Red Balloon can help. You can post your job on their national job board. Over 20,000 people visit every week. Or you can hire Red Balloon Recruiter for a more customized talent search. Now, the recruiter team is really fantastic. They start by learning your workplace culture and writing a custom job posting, and then they source and screen candidates from their national database. Their team conducts first interviews, and you get alerts when they find highly qualified candidates. And Red Balloon delivers these high-quality results at a fraction of traditional corporate recruiter prices. People are saying Red Balloon is a game changer. So check them out today, redballoon.work. Use the promo code STARNS and save $100 on Recruiter.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
It's what we were taught, trained, and told to do.
It could be for anything. Helping a friend move.
Listening to a fellow veteran for hours, at any hour of the day.
Or just simply making time for people. A neighbor, a loved one, or even a stranger.
We're often the first to help others. There's no question about it.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
Perhaps it's time to do for yourself what you would do for others.
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Retirement can be scary, but only if you're not prepared. That's why AARP created thisispretirement.org. Because unless you've already retired, you're in pretirement, and you still have time to plan. Learn about retirement savings options, potential tax breaks, and how you can build savings over time. Visit thisispretirement.org for free resources to help you customize your action plan and feel the retirement fear disappear. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back to it. Todd Starnes radio program on the home stretch here. Andy Hooser sitting in for Todd. If you want more information about Todd and what he's doing, which I can't wait to hear his stories tomorrow as he is there in Memphis with the Trump Roundtable, the the safer task force that they're doing, and the crime rates that we've seen in Memphis and other areas. Sitting down for a few minutes with President Trump and with Pam Bondi and others, chatting with them. I can't wait to hear some of those stories of what he's been able to chat with them about tomorrow on the program, so do not miss that one. Again, you can find all the information at toddstarnes.com and on his social media. If you want some of my information, you can find my website at HooserReason.com. That's HOOSER reason.com. And you can check out my radio affiliates and what we do on my show, which is kind of what we've been doing here on the Todd Starnes radio program throughout the day today. But there's a lot to talk about for sure. The Supreme Court hearings right now, the oral arguments are still going on regarding the mail-in ballot issue on Election Day. Is Election Day. How crazy would it be to see something like that pass and make the Democrats lose their mind? At the same time, we've been following the statement from President Trump that we could be having a 5-day ceasefire with Iran. Is that a good idea? Is that where we're at with this conflict when he said it was going to be 4 to 6 weeks of a mission? And we're about 4 weeks in right now. So are we where we need to be, or do we still have some work to do? And what does it do not only for Iran, but also for some of the other nations with China and Russia, which sounds like they're kind of getting buddy-buddy, because deeper hidden meaning, if you're not aware of this, much of the oil that China especially uses gets refined and used from Iran. And now that we're involved there, they've lost their oil. So now they're partnering with Russia, which was kind of expected. Russia trying to threaten European nations to cut them off because of, well, us working with Donald Trump and getting involved in Iran. So they're on a quagmire now, and it's going to be interesting to see where this leads to moving forward. To talk about some of this and more, happy to have on the program as we go to the Patriot Mobile Newsmaker Hotline, good friend of mine and author of multiple books, including his latest one that's just been released, Clinton Hoax, Obama Coup. Happy to have on the man himself, Drew Thomas Allen. Drew, how are you, my friend?
Hey, I'm good, man. Good to be with you, brother.
Yeah, it's always great to chat with you. What a wild world we live in right now. We have the foreign policy that, again, Donald Trump seems to be, 5 or 6 steps ahead of everybody else, not only with the nation of Iran, but with China and Russia, with their involvement. We have the shield of the Americas, and everybody just throwing a fit about it all across the board. Are we where we need to be right now, do you think, with these operations?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that a lot of us, including me, you'd like to see it over already, but that's not the nature of Iran. And, they basically have a bunch of guerrilla warfare. It's like, Vietnam over there, with the way they've trained their revolutionary troops, especially as it relates to the Strait of Hormuz. So, I'm okay. I mean, I think that the indications are that, we are absolutely, winning this thing. And we have to hope that it continues in that direction. But there are a lot of voices out there that, used to be MAGA, and they just want to, present doom and gloom every single day. They're making outrageous claims like we're being strategically outmatched by Iran. And I don't know how you can come to that conclusion, Andy, when they have a dead Ayatollah. They have their next Ayatollah who's injured and gay somewhere. And, we've got all these countries that are also Arab countries that are, participating to the extent that it allows us to do what we need to do. So, I mean, I voted for Trump 3 times. I trust him. I don't want a forever war. This is not a forever war, obviously, yet. Yeah. And, I'm going to continue to support Donald Trump.
I am cautiously optimistic about the direction we're going with it, because you're right. I don't think any of us want long-term wars, which is why we've seen such support for Donald Trump that doesn't want to get into long-term wars and use the military-industrial complex. And that's why we saw those like Tulsi Gabbard and others that have jumped on board with him. At the same time, do you think the message that we got today, which Donald Trump again this morning earlier talking about how, we're going to do this 5-day hold because we're in negotiations, this is what he had to say.
So the discussions took place yesterday. They went into yesterday evening. They want very much to make a deal. We'd like to make a deal too. We're going to get together today by probably phone, because it's very hard to find a country. It's very hard for them to get out, I guess. But we'll at some point very, very soon meet. We're doing a 5-day period. We'll see how that goes. And if it goes well, we're going to end up with settling this. Otherwise, we'll just keep bombing our little hearts out.
We're just bombing our little hearts out. But is this a little, I don't know. I'm so nervous of why we're pausing it with conversation. Every time we've had conversation with Iran, who, by the way, is denying that we're having any conversation at all right now with Donald Trump, is it too optimistic that we might actually see some progress, or have we actually fulfilled the agenda of removing the regime altogether and allowing the Persian non-radical Islamists to take hold of their government and do something completely different? Why are we stopping this with hopes that the conversation might actually be productive?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit murky because, look, I don't understand how that government's set up or how they're, so like when I hear that, there's issues with the Strait of Hormuz and so on and so forth, it's like, well, I thought that we decapitated them, I thought we had them on the run. So, it doesn't quite add up completely with what I understand, because, it seems like they're still, waging this fight. I mean, I think one of the more disappointing things, and it comes back to the fact that we have a Second Amendment, is that we don't seem to see any real like revolution on the ground by the Iranian people, who definitely support the United States of America. They want to be free, but they're not armed up, obviously. So I mean, it's really hard, Andy, because in this day and age, with social media and the way false information as well as true information travels so quickly, it's hard to really get a grasp on what's actually happening over there. And to be completely frank with you, I mean, there are indications, obviously, that, I mean, I think it's outrageous to claim that, Iran is somehow winning this. That's not true. But I don't know what it looks like. I mean, it's a little bit scary. Iran's coming out and, we found out that they do have long-range missiles that can hit London, Paris, et cetera, which actually, I think, reaffirms that, Donald Trump made the right move in going to war with Iran. But, it's scary stuff. I mean, they're threatening to go after these desalination, centers. It's the Middle East. There's not a lot of water, so they depend upon these things for survival. If they were to hit those targets, I mean, it would be a catastrophe. Millions of people would die. And so it's a little bit unsteady. I mean, for I guess, look, I mean, I look at Iran as this weak kind of regime, and yet, they've got enough strength to kind of, keep putting up a fight and get us at the negotiating table, right? Or us to get them at the negotiating table.
Yeah, that's very true. Let's bring it home to the domestic front for just a moment. We still see the ongoing filibuster right now with the SAVE Act, DHS funding that is still lingering in the balance right now. There's been a new proposal from Senator John Kennedy saying that we should go with the Democrats in splitting off ICE funding with the rest of DHS to get DHS refunded, get TSA workers back on track, and do that thing, and then use the reconciliation process that doesn't need the 60-vote supermajority, but just a simple majority for Republicans to get on board and pass the rest of the ICE funding without Democrat support. And that way we can end this, we can be productive, and again, another government shutdown that was wasted with no progress from the Democrats whatsoever. Is that the best move here after a week now of shutting down any operation in the U.S. Senate?
Well, the unfortunate reality is that you have people like Mitch McConnell and Murkowski and a couple of other holdouts that really are tying the hands of the Senate right now. And, I mean, that's I don't know if that's the best solution, but it's an okay solution in my mind if they can actually get the support of, the other Republican senators to do that. It's so demoralizing, to look at the fact that we have a 53-seat majority. And, for example, we could have passed the SAVE Act with nothing more than returning to the traditional standing talking filibuster. And it doesn't require any rule change. You just need 51 senators to band together to stay in there in the chamber and make sure that, it continues. And you're telling me that we have a 53-seat majority and we can't get 51 Republican senators to support what over 80% of Americans want passed?
Yeah, it's sad. And that really shows the state of the Republican Party. Is that going to be a backlash for us in the midterms this year? I mean, right now, we're seeing more productivity in the Trump administration than really any administration in the past century. But a frustration is growing among Republican voters of the fact that Republicans in Congress are not matching that enthusiasm, codifying the Trump agenda, codifying the executive orders. Is that going to come back to bite us in November?
Yeah, it's going to be a big problem, actually. And, I think that they know it's going to be a problem. And you've got the rhinos, part of the quote-unquote uniparty, that would love nothing more than to see that happen. I mean, you've got the same people that were, couldn't wait for Ronald Reagan to be out of there to take back the Republican Party. And they're looking at Donald Trump right now, and they're trying to, weaken him. And it's shameful, obviously. But, of course, this is going to hurt us in midterms because, look, I mean, I can sit here and explain to your audience. You can explain to the audience, all day long till our faces turn blue that Trump is on the ballot for midterms. But but people still, they are going to be frustrated and not energized to go out and vote because at the end of the day they're voting for you know Senate candidates or House of Representative candidates, and so it's typically lost on people that look, man, you're going to have nothing but impeachments that are going to persist after this. You're going to basically end Donald Trump. I mean, basically all the energy we put into reelecting Donald Trump in 2024 is going to be wasted if we don't maintain control of the House and Senate. And I hope that people understand that, because you voting for a Republican, even if you're upset right now, it's voting for Trump.
Right. Yeah, it's going to be a major concern. We're talking with Drew Thomas Allen, author of multiple different books, including his latest one, Clinton Hoax, Obama Coup. Let's go there for a moment and let's talk about transparency and declassification. We've had the kind of rocky, to put it in the least damaging way, kind of rocky disclosure of the Epstein files that are still under investigation right now under Pam Bondi. We have, God bless, one of my favorite electeds right now with Congresswoman Anna Paulina Luna and Congressman Tim Burchett and some of these others that are working on transparency on multiple different fronts right now, but especially with your book talking about the Russia collusion with Donald Trump and some of the things that have been going on behind the scenes. Are you more optimistic that we're going to get more information, more transparency from these secrets that have been held from us for a really long time, where government thought that they could just hold this in a classified file, stash it away, and have it never come to light? Are we starting to see the crack in that type of wall?
I think so. I mean, look, Tulsi declassified a lot of the documents for the Trump-Russia collusion, last summer, I think it was. That's when I started writing the book, I think in August of 2025. And so, I mean, it's slower than any of us want, but there's so much of it, too. I just hope that they are organized enough and that they're working on it behind the scenes. I mean, look, Tulsi Gabbard was present in Georgia when the FBI showed up to seize, documents related to the 2020 election. So obviously they're doing things behind the scenes. So things are moving. But I haven't heard anything about the Trump-Russia collusion stuff since really last year. I mean, you're hearing a little bit now because Comey's, some of it's coming out in Florida where there's a grand jury indicting, hopefully. I wrote this book because I want to force the issue because, it's so much worse than the American people ever were told or could understand based on the declassified information. And literally no one has been held accountable at this moment for it.
Yeah.
Comey may be the first, but nobody has. And, there's so many bombshells in the book. I mean, unrelated to even, Trump-Russia collusion itself, in 2012, when Barack Obama was very weak after Benghazi, and his reelection was actually looking like it was in dire straits, he went on ABC News with Letterman right after spreading the Benghazi hoax, right, blaming it on a video, and it was a spontaneous protest, they said. Well, he went on the Letterman show, and he said himself that it was because of a spontaneous video. So that was the only time you had Barack Obama actually saying it himself. And what I found in my research was that CBS and the rest of the media actually censored themselves. CBS, for example, removed that segment of the Letterman interview with that damning admission to help him win re-election. The question remains, did the Obama administration and the White House itself pressure the media and coordinate with him to make sure that disappeared ahead of debates and the election campaign? But the point is, the irony is, they blame Russia for meddling to try and elect Donald Trump in 2016, but they were all meddling in a far worse way, actually, to try and get Barack Obama elected. And then, of course, Hillary Clinton.
Right. Yeah, we haven't seen a lot of, like you said, any accountability on this front, on the Epstein front, on a lot of it. And I think that's why a lot of people are really upset about that. Drew, last question for you. We have just a minute or so left. But on the other types of transparency and government accountability, we heard from Anna Paulina Luna on UFOs and UAPs saying that, yes, we are serious about releasing that info. And according to her on a podcast this past week, said that the information that's about to be released in the next few days will blow your mind. What can we see with UFO disclosure, man? Come on.
Oh man, I mean, we've seen little leaks here and there, or these footage of things that look extraterrestrial because we've never seen that kind of technology. It'll be interesting to find out, look, is this like, government secrets in terms of technology we've developed that we don't want our enemies to know about? Or is there more to this story? Do people really not know? And if they really don't know, that's quite an interesting prospect.
I'm still waiting for the alien side of it. That's what I want. I mean, look, I know we have technology that we're not aware of. I know that we have all these secrets that I think a lot of the private contractors have been working on. But at the same time, I want the ET confirmation. Make it happen. It is Clinton Hoax, Obama Coup, the declassified story of the Trump-Russia collusion. You can find it on Amazon and other places as well. Drew, it's always good to talk to you, my friend. Appreciate it.
You too, brother. Talk soon. Thank you.
Yeah. Always a great time. Drew Thomas Allen here on the Patriot Mobile Newsmaker Hotline. Always enjoy chatting with him on the latest of what's going on with the current events. Got to take a break. Your phone calls for the last few minutes we have as we wrap things up on a Monday here on the Todd Starnes radio program.
Sane talk in an insane world. Todd Starnes.
Grandma's Kitchen, where laughter and warm meals mingle. Each bite is a journey through generations. As you gather around the table, complement the meal with Balance of Nature fruits and veggies supplements. Our veggies supplement, made from 15 ingredients like garlic, onion, and cayenne pepper, can easily be opened and added to your favorite dishes, like homemade soups or dips. Not to mention our fruit supplement, which is made from 16 ingredients like banana, strawberries, and mango, making it a great addition to your homemade smoothies. So the next time you gather with family, enjoy Balance of Nature supplements as an addition to your favorite dishes. Start your journey with Balance of Nature. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com to get 35% off your preferred set as a new preferred customer with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
At a time when technology is often used to distort truth, there's a new tool that's actually getting it right. My Faith Assistant is a Bible-based AI created to help you understand God's Word and grow in your faith. Many Christians have tried using online AI tools for Bible questions, only to get vague, misleading, or even unbiblical answers. That concern is real. Technology untethered from truth can quickly lead to confusion. That's exactly why Leading the Way created My Faith Assistant. This isn't a generic chatbot. It's a closed, theologically vetted system built on scripture, seminary-level resources, and more than 50 years of faithful teaching from pastor and scholar Dr. Michael A. Youssef. My Faith Assistant can help you get personalized guidance, clear theological answers, trusted biblical teaching, access to pastors and prayer teams, and deeper Bible study, all in one place. Over 50,000 people already trust it. It's free, requires no login, and it's built not for clicks, but for Christ. Try it now at myfaithassistant.com.
Balance of Nature's fruits and veggies supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
I'm a 70-year-old man. I'm not a young guy, and I'm an ex-athlete. Well, yeah, when I was taking it, I recognized that I was feeling better. You know what I'm saying? And just mentally knowing is important also.
I am a customer of you guys. I love your product. Love it, love it. Nothing but good things to say about your product. I love it. And as long as y'all don't sell it, I'm going to take it as long as I can.
Start your journey with Balance of Nature supplements. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer. And for a limited time, get 35% off your first order with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this special offer by using discount code TODD.
As veterans, we're no strangers to helping others.
That's what we were taught, service before self.
But we do have one question for the veterans listening.
When was the last time you reached out for help?
If you or someone you know needs resources, whether it's for stress, finances, employment, or mental health, don't wait. Reach out.
Find more information at va.gov/reach. That's va.gov/reach.
Brought to you by the United States Department of Veterans Affairs and the Ad Council.
Smokey the Bear.
Then you know why Smokey tells you when he sees you passing through. Remember, please be careful, it's the least that you can do.
Don't play with matches, don't play with fire.
After 80 years of learning his wildfire prevention tips, Smokey Bear lives within us all. Learn more at SmokeyBear.com. And remember,
only you can prevent wildfires.
Brought to you by the USDA Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
All right, welcome back to it. It is the Todd Starnes radio program. Got a few minutes left. Thanks again to Drew Thomas Allen on the program. Always appreciate chatting with him on the Patriot Mobile Newsmaker hotlines. Todd back at it again tomorrow. Cannot wait to hear some of his conversation about what he got to experience with the town hall, the round table, the rally that was going on there in Memphis with President Donald Trump and some of those leaders. One of the issues we didn't get a chance to chat about today, so maybe Todd will be able to have a chance to talk about it tomorrow, was President Trump over the weekend. Again, Mr. Productivity over there. Hey, you're showing up the rest of the politicians on getting things done and actually being productive in your time, which is unheard of in Washington, D.C. usually. But along with Iran and with the SAVE Act and with the task force that are going on, and with taxes and with the economy and with oil and farmers and everything else he deals with, he released a new framework for legislation on artificial intelligence. And again, just like with his great, and this is what he called it, his great healthcare plan, he has generalized guidelines and then allows Congress to kind of fill in the blanks and pass the legislation they need to pass. Now, we're still waiting on the whole healthcare thing. That hasn't happened. And he released the quote-unquote great healthcare plan guidelines, I don't know, a month ago, 2 months ago. Time's kind of warped with how quick things move. But Congress has yet to actually work on that and present their plan for healthcare reform and repealing Obamacare. But he's released his framework on artificial intelligence with what we could see there, including protecting children and empowering parents, safeguarding and strengthening American communities, respecting intellectual property and supporting creators, free speech and preventing censorship, and some other issues. Hopefully we can see some guidance on this, because I know AI has been a disaster in some areas and there's some things we need to work on, but work in progress. I'm out. Todd back again tomorrow. Until then, we will see you back on the radio. Before you know it, it is the Todd Starnes radio program. We'll see you on the radio. Bye.
Hi, this is Todd Starnes. I realize there are many choices when it comes to who you choose for your cell phone service, and there are new ones popping up all the time. But here's the truth. There's only one that boldly stands in the gap for every American that believes that freedom is worth fighting for, and that's Patriot Mobile. For more than 12 years, Patriot Mobile's been on the front lines fighting for our God-given rights and freedoms while providing exceptional nationwide cell phone service with access to all three of the main networks. Don't just take my word for it. Ask the hundreds of thousands of Americans who've made the switch and are now supporting causes they believe in simply by joining Patriot Mobile. Switching is easier than ever. Activate in minutes from the comfort of your own home. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. Patriot Mobile's all U.S.-based support team is standing by to take care of you. Call 972-PATRIOT today or go to patriotmobile.com/Todd. Use promo code Todd for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Todd or call 972-PATRIOT and make the switch today.
Mama, what does the chicken say?
Chicken. Oh, okay.
And the wolf?
Oh, a wolf. Ooh!
What about the tiny dog? Cat? Owl? Dolphin? What does the turkey say? Whale?
Yeah, whale sound.
Do the giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Okay. Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.